post-recording Shaft here. This is a long episode, so I highly encourage anyone listening to take advantage of the show notes. And if you're listening to this on YouTube, then take advantage of the timestamps. We go through a lot in terms of the review of cards from New Capenna, but we have some great discussions pre and post about cards in general, card design, etc. Also, Explorer was announced on Arena, and because we don't really play Arena that well, Jack doesn't really play it at all, and I kind of dabble in it, we don't really have that much of an opinion. They should just put Pioneer on Arena, but I mean, this is a step towards it. Enjoy the episode. Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 13, the unlucky number of the Magic the Gathering podcast, known as the Mind Grinders Cast. A podcast focused on the modern player and, more importantly, the modern mill player. Or, honestly, these days, it's like the mill player in general, really. We're here to talk about any Who format. And when I say we, my name is Shaft, A.K.A. That Mill Guy. I'm joined by my co-host.
Jack, A.K.A. BlitzMTG, A.K.A. King Crab, A.K.A. Modern Hiatus Man.
A.K.A. my better half. How are you doing, Jack?
Oh. I won't tell your fiance that.
Hey, wife at this point. Don't get her mad before I get once.
Oh yes,
I think once in this month I called her like, oh no, it wasn't her. I was like having this conversation and it was like, oh yeah, me and my girlfriend, and she's looking at me like, what? Excuse me? I was like,
it's like those TikToks where like a couple, like one of them will call the other by their first name.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's like,
or like,
did I do something wrong?
It's like that, or like the wrong name. No, I've never done that. I've never called my partner by the wrong name.
One name is like a whole separate thing.
Yeah,
I would not. Oh man,
I've never done that. But I call my partner by her first name. But it's like she has like alternate names for me, but I just call her. I don't know. I just call her by her first name. I don't know. Maybe it's always because I'm the one doing the dumb stuff, and never her. So I can never be strict with her. I am so
surprised that you are the one who does the dumb stuff.
Anyway, folks, we're here to talk about New Capenna. The set is out. We've all had a moment to digest, and Jack and I, we're recording this on 4/20. Happy post Blaze It to everyone. This will probably be releasing on the Friday. So for those of you who observe such a momentous day, congratulations to you. Those of you who don't, it's fine. It's hump day. It's Wednesday. You're halfway through your week. And hopefully, it's goddamn nice outside wherever you are. Get outside, roll around, come back inside, hug your blanket, and be comfortable again.
It snowed twice this week for me.
It snowed randomly on Monday. It was like hailing. And so it was like random.
Yeah,
I don't understand.
Mine was like overnight between Saturday and Sunday, but that melted quickly. And then yesterday was like a decent amount of snow, but it's like since melted. But I'm just like, come on, like.
I feel like you guys got like okay, so whatever you got on Sunday came to us, and then like by what you're saying, it like turned around and came back to you. Because it was like, bad over here in Toronto. They're just like. Nah, you don't have the right visa. Go back. Yeah, exactly. No. We just turned that stuff around. We're like, nah, go back across the lake. It was bad over here for a second, but anyway. Before we hop into the magic itself, though, Jack, I always ask you, how are you doing? What have you been up to? It's been a long time since we recorded the last pod.
Yeah, it's been well over a month.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Just been taking some time. Been playing a lot of draft lately. Been really enjoying that. Some, not just Kamigawa, some other formats. Been getting really into Pauper the past month or so. Been enjoying that a lot. Not so much on Modern personally. I'm not super big on where the format is right now. I think a lot of changes need to occur. I'm just like not having fun with it. So planning on getting to Pioneer at some point. Outside of Magic, continuing with school. I've got about a month left of this semester, still going strong. and been playing some TFT for any of our viewers who enjoy TFT. I've been liking this set so far, and also randomly got back into playing Apex this week. Apex Legends.
Oh, nice. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's like I'm terrible at FPSs, but that one specifically, I find it's like that one and Valorant are like kind of fun. But Valorant, I need to have friends with me to communicate. Like Valorant solo is just like miserable. It's like playing League by yourself. It's just awful.
Yeah. No, I understand completely. Yeah.
But Apex like solo, because of how short the matches are, you can just go in, do whatever, and then you die and don't get respawned, and you can just leave. Like the non-committal ness of it.
Yeah. It's not like you're just losing 7 rounds in Valorant, and you're just sitting there like, I gotta complete all these matches and sit through these miserable people. Yes.
Exactly. So yeah, that's been mostly what's been going on with me. How about yourself? New job and everything.
Yeah. So I've been, as some of you know, I've been in between jobs. So I'm just about to finish my last day. Or sorry, I finished my last day with my current job for a little bit. Moved out to a new position. Just new horizons, virtual job, all that stuff. So a lot of fun things happening on that side, just doing some onboarding as well. So things are looking good there. Got the work laptop, had to move around my desk setup a little bit. So that's always fun. I always like a little bit of setup refresh. So I've got this kind of monitorizer coming in from Amazon. I'm going to put a monitor on. Like I have 3 monitors right now. 2 are my main ones with like my PC and everything. And then one I have for my work laptop, and that monitor connected to that. So I just want to create a shelf where I can put like work stuff on one, and then underneath the work laptop goes, and then on top is the monitor. I love organization. My desk is big enough for it, but I hate clutter on my desk. I hate that. It absolutely irritates the living bejesus out of me. So I spend like at least, I don't know, 10 minutes a day just like moving stuff around sometimes because there's like dust or like a pen somewhere. Anyway, that's me. So that's me for jobs. Magic wise, I've been playing less modern, bit more pauper, and that's just less Magic in general. Just fasting for Ramadan. I'm not forcing myself to play Magic because sometimes you have to. You just sit there. You've played like 4-color control, like honestly, like once, and then I just want to quit. Like I play that deck once and I want to quit. So I'm not forcing myself to do it when I'm hungry.
I'm sorry, which deck?
4-color control.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Like it's just like you sit there, you start thinking about the minutia of do they have counter spell? Are they on 4 Omnath this build? And it just hurts my brain. I have no sugar going through my body until 8 o'clock, so I'm not doing any of that. But
how much longer is Ramadan?
Yeah, so we're about like kind of on the last third of it. So it started on kind of April, like the April 1st weekend. So it started around there, and so it'll be there until the first week of May. So it'll be there for a little bit.
Gotcha.
I believe so. It ends off with Eid, which is the big like celebration day. I believe Eid is either going to be May 1st, which is a Sunday, or it's going to be Monday, May the 2nd. So not that much longer.
So you're hoping the first, just wrap it up on Sunday.
Yeah, that's the plan. If it's not, then like whatever, like the new position I'm with is virtual, so it's not like I'm going to the office and doing all that. So I'm gonna be at home, if I'm not gonna be moving out and about, but if anyone comes over and everything, then I can at least like be there with them. But that's that. Right now, in terms of the wedding, we've just invited everyone out, like our family members and everything. So we're just looking at that. Golf season's coming around.
I better check my my mail or my messages.
Hey, don't worry. We're sending the first round out to the family members to make sure that we get the confirmation, and then the rest of the guest list is going out. Don't worry. It'll come through.
No.
But
oh man.
But yeah, that's happening there. I'm excited for New Capenna, but like. Honestly, in general, like again, I can't even restate this enough. Just not having food throughout the day, I just don't want to play Magic sometimes. Like there are some
understandable.
There are just some matchups in any format that like absolutely like make me want to quit the game when I think about them. Like I just don't even want to play it. And playing against 4-color control is one of them. It absolutely hurts
that's
my
a
brain.
big one. Yeah, that's a big one for me. It's but even though I'm much more of a draft than sealed person, I am so stoked, so stoked for pre-release this weekend.
Oh, that's gonna be big. This is gonna be a huge set. Like I feel like so many people are excited for it.
I see. I've been getting mixed reviews, like in our LGS Discord. A lot of people are like not feeling this set.
Mm-hmm.
I think people are, and we can talk about this more as we go through some cards, but people are starting to really get sick of sacrifice themes and sick of treasure making. Making treasures is the new draw card on everything. You know what I mean?
So you know what? I've actually, you know what? So, folks, I want to talk about it. So I try to make sure that when I get on a call with Jack that we don't talk about certain things, but sometimes this dude just knows. He knows what I'm thinking about as well.
We did not talk about this.
This guy knows. You're stealing my talking points, man.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I didn't even, because I think you just sent me a card list. You didn't send me like
No. I thought that is really important though. I actually do want to talk about literally treasures being everywhere.
Yeah.
And everything is kicker. That's the joke, right? Everything is kicker.
Everything's kicker, but now everything is draw card or treasure. I think I made a joke. I was in a stream like very early this morning, like 4 a.m. or whatever, and I don't know, a card was played that like created treasure or whatever, and I just put in chat, the year is 2025. Every card printed now says draw a card and create a treasure. Hasbro still brags about profits.
hey, that's another thing we gotta talk about. There's some other stuff. You know what? Okay,
I mean, we don't have to talk about.
No, I'll tell you what. There's a lot of like random small little things happening. So let's just run through Capenna. Let's run through Capenna. I think a lot of people have had their time to digest. So I think, you know what? Let's talk about some of the bigger cards.
Sure.
Let's give our points on them, because you know what? We are the go-to people for New Capenna. Some of you may not know, but unofficially and not legally, we were actually the designers for this set. So, you know, don't tell Wizards about that. That is not on the paperwork, but we actually put forth. So any card you like, I made. Any card you don't like, I didn't make. I don't know if Jack had any involvement. I'm not going to call him out, but I'm just saying the cards you like, I made. I don't know what that means about the others.
I don't know how believable us designing this set is, considering every card with the word mill on it is fucking trash.
Yeah, don't talk about that. Please. Oh, Lord, I don't even want to talk about that. That is so painful. So painful. Like, yeah. We'll have our small little section about that. You know what? Let's just start somewhere. I'm gonna go with the doc here. I'm going to go in Wooborg order, and then we can kind of like flirt off. We're going to talk about modern playability. We'll touch on maybe some things about Pauper, some things about Pioneer. But again, it's just we're going to talk about modern because our format knowledge. Jack, you've been playing some Pauper. I don't play a lot of Pioneer, so we'll spread some things in there. So from my list, I wanted to talk about depopulate, white, and 2 for a 4-mana sorcery. Each player who controls a multicolored creature draws a card, then you destroy all creatures. So again, I just want to bring it up because it's a board wipe at 4. It draws you a card if you have a certain upside, but other than that, it just destroys all creatures. It's nothing special, but for those of you arena players, this is probably going to be the type of thing that I imagine is a staple in Standard, probably has some legs in Historic. So I just wanted to bring it up there. Modern-wise, it doesn't even stop regeneration. Come on, folks. We don't need this. It doesn't even stop Thrun. It doesn't stop Thrun. So it doesn't do anything in my books.
Yeah, it's not but I don't think this was designed to be the next Supreme Verdict, like
no.
Wrath of God.
Yeah.
It's this is for Standard mostly. I don't even see it like Pioneer play because Supreme Verdict exists in that format. But for Standard, this seems like a really efficient sweeper, especially when because like I think Kaldheim rotates in the fall, so this is like the whatever that sweeper is.
So the reason I always like bringing up board wipes, I don't know how you feel about this, but I like using board wipes as a marker of innovation, in the sense that like historically board wipes have been 4 color, or sorry, 4 CMC in the push department, and then 5 or up in the balance department. So I really like to see where the 4 color board, the 4 CMC board wipe department goes, and I really like board wipes at 3. Because I think that's like board wipes at 4 are baseline, and board wipes at 3 are like pushing the boundary. So that's like my personal bias in terms of like looking at cards. I always like to see what the set's board wipes are to see what they're trying to push. So I just thought, you know what, they brought a 4 CMC one out. Thought it was a run-of-the-mill set. They're not trying to do anything different, but there is one board wipe at 3 that I actually do want to bring up that could be something. But yeah, so that's gonna be that first card. The next card,
it's whatever.
The next card is Extraction Specialist. Okay, so I'm only bringing this up because I don't really play these colors. I don't play this type of card. It just has the wording where maybe it can do something. So, Jack, I'm going to give this to you, but white and 2 for a 3/2 with lifelink. When Extraction Specialist enters the battlefield, return target creature card with mana value 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. That creature can attack or block as long as you control Extraction Specialist. So I'm only bringing this up because of the recursion. Is there some type of thing that you see happening with this? Like, I don't play effects like this, but I think they're interesting.
Yeah, so no, blue, white, and Espermill players, you probably shouldn't play this to recur a crab. I know we miss Luris. It's probably not worth it.
Yo, did people actually say that? Yo, come on now.
No cap. I'm not as active on the Discord as I used to be, but I did see that conversation. It was a while ago. So where I could see this is this, and then another card. Well, another card created hype for some Devoted Druid nonsense.
Yes, we're going to talk about that. That's later in the document. Yes.
But in theory, in those kinds of decks, it's in the colors because Devoted Druid decks are usually green, white, X.
Yeah.
You could play this as my opponent removed my Devoted Druid. Cool. I can bring it back, and I don't care that my Devoted Druid can't attack or block.
That's the big thing, right? Like, because I was like, if it's comboing, most combos don't care about attacking or blocking. It's that recursion. So I was like, okay, two mana value or something. Like, you know, it's probably not going to happen, but it can return Thoracle. You know,
it can do some stuff. But like, even as like just a mid range or like an aggro card, I like it. Yeah, it has like a decent body and keywords for the mana you're paying. Plus, you get to recur. I guess less so an aggro deck, but because it can't attack. But yeah, more for combo and maybe for like value-oriented mid-range. Maybe it's got like a really nice ETB that you'd like, or it does something else, or like a sky not a Skyclave apparition, but 2 or less gives you some sort of value, or you're a combo-oriented. That's where I see this coming in.
Yeah.
So like, I don't think it'll see like a ton of play. But I think it will see niche play kind of scattered throughout Standard, Pioneer, maybe Modern.
Yeah, I think like Historic and Pioneer like stuff like this, because like in Modern you have like a level of critical mass, but like Extraction Special, there might be better effects, but it's nice to have a critical mass of effects like this on creatures on a pretty aggressively costed body, a 3/2 with lifelink, and relevant types being human rogue. So I think that's pretty big for Pioneer, just in terms of like all those factors coming together. But yeah, so those are the 2 white cards I want to mention. Is there anything coming to you off the top of your head, or
for white?
Yeah.
So I think Elspeth Resplendent will see a good amount of play.
Some of the wording on it, I agree. Talk to me about it.
So 3 white for a legendary planeswalker. Elspeth, she is back. She's in like kind of elegant flapper clothing. She starts with 5 loyalty. And +1, choose up to 1 target creature, put a +1/+1 counter and a counter from among flying, first strike, lifelink, or vigilance on it. So it's kind of reminiscent of like Gideon Blackblade in a sense.
Yep.
-3, look at the top 7 cards of your library. You may put a permanent card with mana value 3 or less from among them onto the battlefield with a shield counter on it. Put the rest of the bottom of your library in any order. This is insane.
Yeah, so that's the big thing.
Good.
The big thing we need to state here, folks, is like the shield counter, and I think that's what throws this over the edge, right? Like you put any non-land permanent on it, I believe non-land, right? So, or is it you can put lands here?
It's a permanent card with mana value 3 less.
You can put lands with a shield counter on it? Okay, hold on.
Correct.
Okay. So a shield counter, folks.
Imagine this. So imagine you have like a man land.
Oh, that's what I was literally gonna say. It's so good. Okay, I thought it was non-land. Okay, the wording's even better. So, folks, a shield counter is it's essentially this protection thing on it where if the permanent being targeted takes any damage or would be destroyed, you instead remove the shield counter. So
it's essentially it's a totem armor that can be interacted with.
Yes. For those of you who play other TCGs, Hearthstone, it's literally just divine armor or whatever the hell. Divine shield. Yeah, it's literally that. And then the fact that this just puts it onto the battlefield, you put a manland on there, you literally just give it divine shield. Okay, look, it's at the end of the day, it's a 5-mana walker on white, but that effect is insane. Wow, it hits lands too.
And then the ultimate -7, create 5 3/3 white angel creature tokens with flying.
Yeah, and that's pretty good. And you're already starting at 5. Right? So it's like if you wanted to go the plus route, you can get there pretty easily, but you're probably hitting that minus. You're probably hitting that minus.
So this, I'm not sure if it makes modern blue-white control because they're currently on like both Teferi's and then the Wandering Emperor.
Yeah.
But
because the Wandering Emperor, I believe, creates a token at least, right? Like it creates a creature. Yeah. I think, right? Yeah.
So where I see this is like probably Pioneer blue-white control, like that's one of the top decks in the format. It does play big Teferi and Emperor as well, but you can play like a few more creatures. Definitely for standard control or like mono white or I know like black white is a popular deck right now in standard. Like this will see play.
Wait, you play this in modern? You tutor up a Teferi, and the Teferi has a shield counter on it? Nah.
Yes, you can -3 for Teferi Time Raveler.
Nah, this ain't it. Nah, that's so cool. Like, it's not busted, but that's just cool. Nah, that's actually sick.
Yeah, so I think people should be looking at this card.
Okay, I'm happy you told me.
Also the arts, like all 3 arts are sick for this card.
Yeah, extended and everything. Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, so for what else for white? Okay, so in Pioneer, there's like a tier 2, tier 3 deck called like Green White Angels.
Okay.
It's basically mono white angels with like Coco and sideboard cards in green.
Yeah. And
there's a card called Giada Font of Hope that I think might see play in that deck. I'm not an expert in the deck.
Yeah.
But just very quickly, 1 and a white for legendary creature angel, 2/2 flying vigilance. Each other angel you control enters the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it for each angel you already control.
Wow, that's a very EDH effect. And then, I like that.
Yeah, and then you can tap Giada to add white. Spend this mana only to cast an angel.
What the hell? Yo, that's... Oh, wow. Okay, yeah, that's like super unique. Like a mana dork that creates white helps... Yo, this is a really cool card.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think this card's really cool. Helps that angel deck a lot. That already has some really cool cards in it. Like I've been like side-eyeing the deck of like wanting to try it. I'm like, I know it's not great, but it's decent. And like this card is interesting for it.
Well, for all of you like arena ladder players that don't play enough removal, and then you run up against that mono white life gain angel deck. Well, get ready. Get ready.
This is gonna go with that.
Yeah, it's like a 4-up.
And it's a really good place in the curve because a lot of the really good angels are 3 and 4 mana.
Yeah.
So it's just like that very nice spot in the curve because you can play it on turn 2, and then turn 3 you can bring out your 4 drops.
Yeah. Yep.
So I think this card is like very nice.
And it helps us like even if you miss like a land drop, like you can get to like you can still keep up with like your higher numbers, right? Like you make like
Yeah, for sure. So very quickly, so like for Pauper, mono white heroic is like a deck. It's like a tier 2 deck.
Yeah.
they're gonna get help with Boon of Safety and Revelation of Power. They're kind of like incidental pump or protection spells. We don't have to like cover them, but just look out for those if you play Pauper.
We need to talk about like heroic with that red enchantment later. We actually need to.
We will.
That is.
Don't worry. We're talking about white right now.
Well, heroic might actually see some gains.
Yes. So real quickly, so Inspiring Overseer is literally a strict upgrade to Priest of Ancient Lore from AFR.
That's funny.
So like Priest of Ancient Lore is like 2 and a white, 2/1 ETB. You gain a life and draw a card. Well, Inspiring Overseer. Yeah, Inspiring Overseer is literally same stats, same effect, but it also has flying.
Yeah.
So it's just a strict upgrade.
Yo, what are the creature types? What are the creature types between the two?
One is a dwarf cleric, and the other one is an angel cleric.
Okay, yeah, that's better. Like you literally get the angel support too. Yeah, much better.
Yeah.
Okay.
But this is more for just Pauper. I wouldn't see. I don't think I'm going to see that in like Pioneer or whatever. Yeah. I do want to mention that there is a cycle of color hate in this set.
Sure.
Kind of like with AFR. Yes. So the one for white is I do want to cover all 5 of them when we get to them.
Okay.
So the one in white is called Knockout Blow. 2 in a white, instant. Spell costs 2 less if it targets a red creature. So it costs just a single white. Knockout Blow deals 4 damage to target attacking or blocking creature, and you gain 2 life. So it's Gideon's Reproach or whatever that card's called.
Oh, right.
It's the Iganjo effect.
Yeah.
Channel effect. It's deal 4 damage. It's cheaper if you're targeting a red creature, just costs you white, and then you also get the upside of 2 life. It's gonna be just like a low power, like standard. I don't know about Pioneer per se. I will say it does hit Winota if Winota's attacking, but it's not often. So I don't know. It might see fringe play, but I just figured because some of the other ones I think we'll see more play. So I figured talk about the whole cycle.
The Wings part. I'll tell you what. Do you have more cards here? There's 2 I wanted to bring up actually in white. There's 2 I want to bring
white?
up.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
So randomly for EDH, just Halo Fountain, that big dumb 3-mana enchant. So it's white and 2 for an artifact. Forget the rest of the text except for the bottom. You can pay white. So 5 white, tap it, untap, not tap, untap. 15 creatures you control, you win the game. It's just another big dumb win condition, where you can, you throw a bunch of things into it and you win the game. So there you go for you mono white EDH players. Stop complaining. You're the most broken color in the format. Blah blah blah. Whatever. There's your confidence boost. The last one I would mention is Patch Up, white and 2 for a sorcery. Return up to 3 target creature cards with total mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Some people in the mill Discord were talking about this for like potentially crabs. If you're playing blue-white, you might return like a Snapcaster Mage. Whatever, you can do stuff like that. The reason I want to bring this up is stuff like in Modern, there probably are some low-to-the-ground decks that could try something like this, right? Like, obviously, it's a format full of counter magic right now, so something like this, it's tough to resolve like 3-mana sorceries that don't just like swing the game in your favor, but it can return like, multiple Death Shadows. It can return like a Ranger Captain, and then you tutor for a Death Shadow. Like, it does things, right? And it's at that sweet spot 3 CMC, so it's something, but like I also recognize, again, we're in a format full of like cheap interactive counter magic. 3 CMC sorceries are they have a high bar they need to pass to like make work, but it's worth bringing up. It's worth bringing up. But I think that's it for white on our side.
For the most part. Yeah, no, I would agree.
So I have 2 blue cards that I want to start us off with here. I'm gonna save the bad one. I'm gonna talk about an offer you can't refuse.
Oh yeah, I had that on mine. That is now. So last set we had "You're Already Dead" as like the best thing to name for like your ad nauseum like effects or your spoils of the vault. Like you were already dead because you're about to combo. This one is like close.
Yeah.
It's one of those like best names in the set kind of cards.
Yeah. And I think, okay, I'll tell you what. So let's read it out. 1 blue for an instant, an offer you can't refuse. Counter target non-creature spell, period. Counter target non-creature spell. Then its controller creates 2 creature tokens. Treasure tokens. The reason I want to bring this up, okay, so a lot of people are like, oh, you know, if I counter their counter spell, I ramp them. The reason I think this is worth something, one, the people are bringing up the fringe notion of, oh, Modern now has Flusterstorm. So if you Flusterstorm, you can counterspell one of your Flusterstorm copies and ramp yourself. Niche, but fun. People like fun stuff. The next thing is, I think this card may not have a home now, but it has a home somewhere in the future in a deck where you in a combo deck where you really need to resolve a spell and do something that turn. A lot of times in Modern, what happens is you ramp an opponent, but they don't have a way to use that mana instantly, right? Like right now in Modern, you're seeing, oh, there's free spells, but the free spells when you go to hard cast them cost 3, 4, 5 mana. You know, you're playing a lot of Planeswalkers. You got to cast those at sorcery speed. So once you counter the one counter spell, they can't really do anything with that mana that turn. So, you know, decks like Belcher, I'm not saying Belcher would play this, but decks like Belcher want to win one turn, like right there on the spot. Something like Offer You Can't Refuse is a good option to say 1 mana, counter everything. The problem is Swan Song is legal in the format, doesn't hit Planeswalkers, which is key, doesn't hit Planeswalkers. And then we also have Spell Pierce, which, you know, people can play around and everything. So there's other options, but I've rambled on enough. Jack, what do you think?
No, I think you've said pretty much everything that
Okay.
I was thinking about it.
Okay, so that's an offer you can't refuse. We're a mill podcast. Folks, you already know what I'm going to talk about right now. This is the single best mill spell ever printed in the history of the game. Better than Millstone. Better than Kozilek. Oops, that's not a mill spell. That's an anti-mill spell. Anyway, cut your losses. 4 mana, 4 and blue for a 6 mana sorcery. 6 mana sorcery. Super efficient. Hey, Archive Trap's 5, right? This is only one more. Casualty 2. So the spell itself says target player mills half of their library rounded down. Okay. You can then casualty 2. So if you sacrifice, as you cast a spell, you can sacrifice a creature with power 2 or greater, not less, 2 or greater, and then you can copy this spell. Oh my god, I can actually mill them out completely. No, that's not how that works, folks. That's not how that works. You mill them for half, then you mill them for half again. So mathematically, follow me along, folks. We're doing some integrals. All right? That's 75%. You spent 6 mana and a creature to mill them for 75%. This card is so bad.
Yes,
there's so many reasons. It's so bad.
Wizards preemptively understood the community's reaction to this card, and that's why they called it Cut Your Losses. Do not invest in this card. This card is trash. Please do not play it. If I see you in the Mill Discord with Cut Your Losses in your deck and you're not being ironic, I will ban you.
We will literally time you out. We will literally we're going to create a separate channel called Timed Out. No one else will have access to it.
No, the channel is going to be called Cut Our Losses.
Yeah, Cut Our Losses. So then you will still be allowed in the Discord, but you will only be allowed to talk to other people that have cut their losses. And then after a certain amount of time, you will lose access to that channel and you will come back to the regular channels, okay? Don't test us. We will do it. Do not play this card. Okay? For those of you who do not understand, let me spell it out for you. Target player. It says target player. Maddening Cacophony says each opponent. It's 6 mana. This says target player. You get beat with Veil and Leyline with it. Cool. Then it says rounded down. Cacophony says rounded up. If you were to double this spell up, right? Like, or I don't know, if you were to match this with Fraying Sanity, if your opponent has an odd number of cards in the library, it will round down and they will be left with 1 card. That is the problem with Traumatize. Traumatize and Fraying Sanity is not an instant win if your opponent has an odd number of cards in their library. You leave them with 1.
That's why you kick Maddening Cacophony.
Exactly. Thank you. So, and most of the time we're not even doing that. The only place where we're doing that is maybe Pioneer, and we're not even playing Traumatize. We're literally just playing Thing. Stop playing this card. It's not worth it. You're going to lose a creature for it too. Anyway, that's it. That's it. What do you got in blue?
So what do I have in blue? Okay, so the part of the color hate cycle is out of the way.
Yes.
3 in a blue for an instant. Spell costs 2 less to cast if it targets a green permanent. Return target non-land permanent and opponent controls to its owner's hand. Draw a card. So, here's my take on this. Despite it saying draw a card, this is worse Aether Gust.
Yeah, I think so too. For
the effect that I would like, for the decks that I want this for, I would rather Aether Gust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Like, I think the card isn't worth it.
Yeah. One card I want to mention. Sorry, go on.
No, that was it for that specific card. Like, just
2 cards I want to bring up actually. One is for EDH players. I think it's worth bringing up just for combo potential. Hypnotic Grifter, one mana, 1 blue. Sorry, for a 1/2 Cuban Rogue. Hypnotic Grifter has text on it. Pay 3 mana. Hypnotic Grifter connives. And the reason I want to mention this is it's 3 mana. You don't have to sack anything. You don't have to tap anything. You don't have to untap anything. You don't got to discard nothing. It is just 3 mana. So the reason I bring this up, it's another infinite mana sink. You have a ton out there, but conniving is draw a card, discard a card, and then if the discarded card is a non-land card, you put a +1/+1 counter on Hypnotic Grifter. Again, it's just an infinite mana sink. Always fun to bring up if you're looking for an alternate. You got infinite mana in your deck. Hypnotic Grifter is an option in blue. I also then want to bring up a little chat. 1 and a blue for an instant. You can it says look at the top 2 cards of your library, put 1 of them into your hand and the other at the bottom of your library. You can then casualty 1, so you can sacrifice a creature with power 1 or greater to copy this spell. So essentially, if you have a 1 power creature and 2 mana at instant speed, you can sacrifice that creature, look at 4, draw 2. That's it. Look at 4, draw 2. That's all I got. Now, I mean, it's blue, right? It's not really the type of effect that blue is trying to do. Ideally, you'd be playing this in a Grixis deck or like some type of 3-color deck where you're creating multiple colors to create creatures and the support for it. But it's something. Look at 4, draw 2.
Yeah.
Look at 4, draw 2. Well, do you have any other cards to bring in?
I have 2. So, for any of you Garuda stands like Dre and myself,
ooh,
you will like Undercover Operative. 2 blue creature shapeshifter.
Oh, it's even mana.
Rogue.
Right.
Yes. For a 0/0, you may have Undercover Operative enter the battlefield as a copy of any creature on the battlefield, except it enters with a shield counter on it if you control that creature.
Ooh, I didn't even know that. Ooh.
So if you if you're playing a Garuda combo-esque deck, Garuda mills this over. You bring it on, you copy Garuda, but you sacrifice the original Garuda. So while you have so you now have a copy of Garuda that is going to have the ETB effect, but this Garuda is protected by a shield counter.
Which is big. That's removal protection. That's board wipe protection.
But
wow.
On top of that, any further copies, I believe, will also have shield counters on them.
Really?
Like spark doubles and that kind of thing.
No way, actually?
Because spark doubles, I believe...
Yo, wait,
Did spark doubles put the +1/+1 counters or something?
I don't know. I've never played the deck, but if that's the thing, that's sick.
Yeah, so spark double comes on, except enters with additional +1/+1 counter for its creature. Loyalty counter for its planeswalker. Okay, maybe I'm not. I seem to remember like counters being copied.
Okay.
With things. So I believe, and I could be wrong. People are free to correct me, but I believe if anything copies the Garuda with the shield counter on it, those further copies also have shield counters. I think.
Okay.
Which would be really cool.
Yeah. That's an auto clue. That's like a 4 of immediately. Because that's big protection.
The last blue card I have is Witness Protection.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a single blue mana for an aura. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature loses all abilities and is a green and white citizen creature with base power and toughness 1/1 named Legitimate Business Person.
Wait, it's named?
Yes. Legitimate Business Person. I think that's hilarious.
Wait, no. Okay, answer me this. Okay, wait. If I use this on a legendary creature, and the name changes, can my and I use it on my creature, can I then play another of the same legendary person, but because it's a different name?
Yes, because it does say in the reminder text, it loses all other colors, card types, creature types, and names.
Oh wow, I should have just it's literally right there. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, no, but it is funny. Legitimate business person.
So, yeah, you can do some cute stuff like that. I also just like it as like, this seems like situationally probably decent in Pauper, because it is a common, and it's just a 1 mana, screw whatever you got going on.
Yeah.
And also I mostly brought it up because a token named Legitimate Business Person is hilarious to me.
Yo, when are we getting our full copies of Legitimate Business Person? This is gonna be a great for all those like third party like companies and stuff that make like fun little tokens. This is gonna be a great token.
Yeah, it's a good one.
This is gonna be a great token.
It's definitely a good one. But that's mostly what I have for blue. I'm kind of underwhelmed by blue in this set. I don't think it's like, for example, if you're a drafter or sealed person, I don't think blue is very strong. I do think like Connive can be strong, like the mechanic, and that's the mechanic for like the Esper Obscura family. But overall, like the cards, I think other colors are much stronger.
Yeah, and I think in general, like the individual colors are going to be like probably a little weak anyway. Like it's a very multicolored set. So
no, some of the individual colors in the set are very strong.
I mean, sure, yeah, but I'm talking about like comparatively. Like obviously, this is a set designed to be a multicolored set, so we're going to see a lot more power spread out, right? Like
correct.
In a lot of other sets, like it's like one legendary multicolor spell is good, and the rest of them are just like hella balanced for standard or something. You know? So
fair.
But yeah, okay, so let's move into black here. I'm going to start us off with actually I have a couple, so maybe I'll go with 2, and then we'll take it from there.
Sure, yeah. You do
so I'll start off with Body Launderer. Black and 2 for a 3/3 ogre rogue creature with death touch. When another non-token creature you control dies, Body Launderer connives. Okay, so when another, again, non-creature token dies, Body Launderer is going to get you to draw a card, discard a card, and if the discarded card is a non-land card, you put a 1/1 counter on Body Launderer. It's now a 4/4. And
it is you draw then discard. It's not the other way around.
Yes. So it is a loot. So whenever and then the second text is whenever Body Launderer dies, return another non-rogue. So you can't return another copy of Body Launderer. That's what they're trying to say. Return another non-rogue creature card from the graveyard with lesser or equal power from the graveyard to the battlefield. So why the power matters is if you do get some connive triggers on it, it's going to get that. So the big reason I want to bring this up, it's a good blocker. It's a little bit on the higher end of cost at 4, but you can do some fun shenanigans with this, like return a Murktide Regent that has 3 power with it. Now it's a little Magic Christmas Land, but it's a little Magic Christmas Land, but like I thought that was funny. I had someone bring that up, but yeah,
this seems like a very decent mid-range card. Like, sure, 3/3 for 4 is not great, but it does have death touch. Like, people are not going to want to easily attack into this.
Yeah.
And then it has some value in this. It has some card draw, or some card filtering, I should say. It does get bigger, and then you do have recursion. I could see this being on like the higher end of like a sack deck, or just like a black XX overall mid-range deck. Probably more on the standard Pioneer level. I don't think this is modern playable.
I think the big thing this fights with is probably in modern is Kalitas. And
You
Kalidas,
need Pioneer.
no, well, like it'll probably get played in Pioneer. I'm talking about if it gets played in Modern.
But Kalidas doesn't get played in Modern.
Not at the higher tiers. Like I'm saying, it used to, right? Like if you're playing Kalidas, right? This is the slot. Like Kalidas is a slot where you would play Body Launder, but Kalidas is played as an out, as a top end to stop aggro, right? Like that. Like you're playing Kalidas to stop aggro at a top end. Body Launderer is stopping.
It's a similar. It's a similar role. If it's a similar role, but it's worse than Kalidas.
Like you're not getting lifelink and you're not getting the tokens. You're just getting value. So you're fighting mid range and control with Body Launderer. But yeah, you're right. Kalidas doesn't really get played. It's just if you're playing Kalidas, you're considering this or Kalidas.
Yeah. So I mean, it's fine. It'll definitely see. I'm guessing it'll see standard play. I could see it in Pioneer as well.
Yeah, I think it'll definitely see standard play. Like I'd be really surprised if it did. This card is crazy value. But the next card I want to talk about is Cemetery Tampering. I know mill players. This is your definitive opinion on whether or not you can play this card. Whether or not. So let's do it. Black and 2 for an enchantment with Hideaway 5. Oh my god, Shelldock Isle, crazy. When this enchantment enters the battlefield, look at the top 5 cards of your library, exile 1 face down underneath Cemetery Tampering, put the rest at the bottom of your library in any order. Cool. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may mill 3 cards. Then, if there are 20 or more cards in your graveyard, you may play the exiled card without paying its mana cost. Okay, problems with this card. First of all, it's an ETB effect on an enchantment, so you can't flicker this anymore. Once you cast the card, you are not getting the card back. With Shelldock Isle, you are able to use it as a land. Oh, it has value after you cast the card. Problem number 1. Problem number 2. It's a 3-mana black enchantment. If that isn't a problem to you guys as mill players, I don't know what to tell you. Problem number 3, it says at the beginning of your upkeep, not each upkeep, your upkeep. Problem number 4, it says 20 or more cards in your graveyard.
You are milling. The opponent is not milling. You are milling yourself. Yes, no. This card is not good for that. It's not designed for mill players.
I will give it to you. Yeah, sorry, go on.
This card, if you are playing it, you are playing some sort of mid-rangey self-mill strategy. But a lot of these self-mill strategies in like Modern, Legacy, Vintage is like Dredge, Hogak, Hollow One, Vengevine, that kind of thing.
Yeah, like the thing is, it's like
anything in that.
It's 20 cards and not 10. And I you know what I mean? Like it's like, okay, what's the like you'll know this card because I suck with names, but it's like black and green for like a delirium creature with like death touch, and it's like when you attack,
if you have delirium, like they can't like block with like 2 or less. Is that
it's like a mythic.
No, that's not what I'm thinking of. Like, because it sounded like you were. It sounded like you were thinking of Mornwillow, but I don't think that's what you're.
No. About. So it's like a 3/3. I'm gonna look it up. Okay, I'm gonna look it up right now.
I want to try to figure this out.
But okay, so it's black and green. I swear it has Death Touch. It's a mythic, and it's like when it has delirium, and I think when it has delirium, it turns into a 4/4 or a 3/3.
Oh, you're talking about Grimflayer.
Ah, there you go.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so now I know what you're talking about. When you said it turns into a 4/4, I was like, oh yeah, Grimflayer.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is that like a deck that plays Grimflayer would like a similar effect. The problem is a deck that plays Grimflayer doesn't want more than like 10, 12 cards in their graveyard. At that point, they've achieved Delirium. Maybe they're playing Tarmogoyf. They're getting their, 6 to 8 types, whatever it might be. And that's it. They don't really want to get to 20 cards, especially at like 3 mana. Like they can't, like they're not reliably really getting this off until like turn 5. And that's not really what they want with like an enchantment that's just going to do nothing.
And even so, like even if you're like, I'm playing Grimflayer in Modern, and this is my anti-mill tech. Like, cool.
Yo.
So say you have your 20 cards, and you get to play the card, but you're a Grimflayer Tarmogoyf deck, it's just going to be a dopey mid-range threat.
Hey,
Like,
you know what? Maybe we should push this though, because the other tech is just endurance. Maybe you know what? You rock players, this is a great piece of tech. Players are shivering in their boots. I am so scared of this card. If you play it, please play it.
God.
Don't play endurance.
Yeah, it's not great. Yeah, I don't like it very much at all.
So those are the first two cards I want to bring up. Give me some of your cards, and I'll bounce back into others, unless they're the same.
Sure.
Go for it.
No. Because I'm looking at yours and I'm like not overlapping.
Yeah,
on purpose.
Go for it.
So the black version of the color hate cycle, we have whack, and this card is whack. So it's 3 and a black for a sorcery. The spell costs 3 less to cast if it targets a white creature. Target creature gets -4/-4 until end of turn. The reason why this is whack is in AFR they printed a little card called Ray of Enfeeblement, which is a single black, a 1 mana instant. Target creature gets -4/-1. If the creature is white, it gets -4/-4. It does everything this does, but more and cheaper and better, and it's instant. Fuck whack.
Yeah. For its purposes, like I remember we were talking about this in the Mill Discord. You were saying like the card that you're talking about is much better served in Pioneer, like against Winota, than like this is.
Well, no, this does the same thing as Raven Enfeeblement because you're targeting a white creature. It achieves the same thing. But would I rather a 1 mana or a 4 mana sorcery that sometimes is 1 mana, or do I want a 1 mana instant that can kill little things, or if it's targeting like a Winota or another white creature, then it does the full -4/-4. It's much more flexible.
Oh no, I think
better suited.
I think you're just thinking too hard. Just play Ragavan.
Yeah, Pioneer. I'll get right on that.
Just play Ragavan. But yes, instant. What else you got?
Okay, so this one I'm kind of torn on, and there's been a little bit of Twitter discourse on this.
Yeah.
So I want to look at Tenacious Underdog.
Okay.
So this is 1 and a black for a 3/2 human warrior creature with Blitz. Yes, I have become a keyword in Magic of the Gathering.
Oh,
I'd like to thank my parents, Wizards of the Gathering. The only problem is this keyword's on Jund cards only. Sag. It's a cursed monkey paw finger curls. So yes, so this 3/2 has Blitz for 2 black, pay 2 life. So Blitz is, if you cast this spell for its Blitz cost, it gains haste, and when this creature dies, draw a card. Sacrifice it at the beginning of your next end step. And then the further text on Tenacious Underdog specifically is, you may cast Tenacious Underdog from your graveyard using its Blitz ability.
Yep.
So here's the thing. This isn't Bloodsoaked Champion. It's not that good.
Yep.
As like a mono black aggro recursive threat. It's not Dreadwander. It's not nothing like that. But 2 mana 3/2 just by itself is good rate.
Yep.
For its Blitz cost is high. But you do get to cast it from your graveyard if you want, and it'll get haste. So for 4 mana 2 life, you get a 3/2 haster that it will die at the end of the turn, and you get to draw a card. I'm on the fence because I see a lot of positives, but I do see some negatives. What do you think?
So I actually I kind of like this as like a one of random thing that like graveyard decks can play. Like the fact that you just get a free card that has haste and it draws a card. Right? And the draw card is big. I'm not saying this is going to get played in Dredge, but like if you have a one of slot, this is a cool card because you just have something that comes in. I wish it had lifelink because then it would definitely be seeing play. Like if it had some type of keyword, it might be overtuned, but that's probably why they didn't do it. But just like sacrificing itself and just like drawing a card.
But,
right?
I think where this really suited is like a Black X aggro deck. Yeah. Or maybe sacrifice decks have room for this, depending on how they're running it. I also think this is excellent in a bunch of cubes.
Oh yeah,
I think this is like a really fun cube card.
Yeah. No, this is a really cool option. The fact that you can just get it out for its Blitz costs, and then that's how they tuned it. You do have to pay 2 life for its Blitz cost. It's not just mana, so it's not just this like infinitely recurring thing. You do have to manage your life total a little bit. So there is that. But it's a super cool color. You can definitely see where they've balanced it. It's unfortunate that like maybe like 2 years ago this thing would have had like trample and lifelink. Like legit, it would have had like trample and lifelink. But yes.
All right, so I think you have 2 more, and then I have 2 or 3 more.
Okay, cool.
So I'll pass it back to you.
Yeah. So let's go over these quickly here. So Shadow of Mortality, just bringing this up because it's probably not going to get played. There's been a lot of criticism over this, but Shadow of Mortality is black, and 13 for a 7/7 creature avatar. If your life total is less than your starting life total, this so again balance for EDH. It's not referencing 20 life. It's referencing your starting life total. This spell costs X less to cast, where X is the difference between your starting life total and your current life total. So, at best...
Ermagerd, it goes in my Shadow deck.
That's Shadow! Folks, you have to be at 7 life to cast this for black, because you need to have lost 13 life from your starting life total, which is 20 in constructed. You need to be at 7 life to cast this for black, for a 7/7 with no evasion. Death Shadow doesn't have an evasion.
But yeah, Death Shadow doesn't have any evasion, and if I'm at 7 life, my Death Shadow's only a 6/6. This is a 7/7.
Oh God, folks! Like the fact I've had people say this, and I'm like, do y'all know how Death Shadow works these days? You play Death Shadow, you play Dress Down, you play Teamer Battle Rage. Like if you play Dress Down, Death Shadow becomes a 1-mana 13/13. If you play Dress Down on this is still a 15-mana 7/7. Like I don't know what to tell you, folks. Like. It doesn't work. It's not comparable.
I do think this will see some sort of constricted play. I don't think it's Shadow.
I think the only place...
I think people will try this in Shadow, but I don't think it will stay in Shadow.
Okay, the points I will give it, truly the points I will give it, is that it dodges Bolt, it dodges Fatal Push, and it dodges Prismatic Ending. That's what I'm going to give it to you. Yeah. It gets hit by Solitude. For those people playing Path in the sideboard, it gets hit by that too. So I will give it points there. Yeah. But
I can just imagine like Black X like mid-rangey decks playing a couple of these for like late game.
Like you can pitch this for like cards that care about the CMC of things you're pitching. I will say that too. It's 15 mana.
There's that too.
It's 15 mana. So if there's something where like, there's a card out there, it's like you reveal the top card of your library and like you deal damage equal to that. I think
Calibrated Blast.
Yeah. So like. Yeah, so Calibrated Blast can play this. It's 15 mana. And then there's that green spell where like, oh no, that requires you to pitch a green spell. Like the one from Kamigawa that the Gristlebrand combo deck was using.
Nourishing Shoal.
Yeah, but I think that requires you to pitch a green card, right?
Yeah, because the black version of that, I believe is like you pitch a black card and it's either target creature or each creature gets -X/-X.
Oh.
Okay. I gotta look at this.
Okay, yeah, wait. No. But if that's each creature, if that's a board wipe.
No, it's target. Sorry. Sickening Shoal is X black. You may remove a black card with converted mana cost X in your hand from the game rather than pay the mana cost. Target creature gets -X/-X until end of turn. So you could pitch this and give something -15/-15.
But like. No. Like no. Let's not do that.
You could.
Yeah. No. I know what you're saying. I'm just saying
if Emrakul didn't have protection from colored spells, you could kill Emrakul with it.
Emrakul gets Otawara'd. Like we're advanced now. Yeah, like Emrakul gets Otawara'd. We are way like these are a poor man's solution to an Aeon's Torn. Let's move on. Shakedown Heavy. 1 black and 2 for a 6/4 ogre, a creature ogre warrior with menace. Whenever Shakedown Heavy attacks, defending player may have you draw a card. If they do, you untap Shakedown Heavy and remove it from combat. So the reason I want to bring this up, it's in that line of like cheap black creatures that have a downside to playing them. So the recent one is that Dinosaur.
Rotting Regisaur, but that wasn't even that bad of a downside because if you didn't have any cards in your hand on your upkeep, then you didn't have to discard, and you just have a 3-mana 7/6.
Or you just have discard synergies, right? Like you actually want to discard cards.
It was not as much of a downside as people think.
So I think the big thing with this, I'm not saying this is necessarily modern playable, but like the fact that it's a 6/4 with Menace means that it swings through pretty aggressively. And the downside to like it is drawing a card. So if your opponent is actually concerned about this card, they can't remove it. I mean, heck, it requires a permanent going away with Fatal Push. Prismatic Ending requires 3 colors, blah, blah, blah. They force you to draw a card. So it's something I think Rotting Regisaur probably still beats this out in that category.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, it's something.
It's interesting. It's interesting.
Yeah. All right, what do you got?
Where it goes. So I want to talk about Sanguine Spy.
Okay.
2 and a black for a 2/3 vampire rogue with menace and lifelink. So already the body, the typing, keywords, I like it.
Vampire rogue, 100%. Yep. Relevant
Mana is
types.
2/3 menace and lifelink.
Yep. Big. Like just off that basis.
Yep.
Big.
Yep. Already cool. Okay. 1 mana, sacrifice another creature. Look at the top card of your library. You may put that card into your graveyard. So essentially, 1 mana, sacrifice creature, surveil 1.
I also do want to point out, again, just like a previous card we were talking about with Connive, this doesn't require tapping, untapping, nothing. It's just you got mana, you got creatures.
Yes. Yep.
Again, that's a thing.
Yep.
That's a thing.
So even though it's not, an evergreen word, essentially it's surveil 1.
Yes.
At the beginning of your end step, if there are 5 or more mana values among cards in your graveyard, you may pay 2 life if you do draw a card. Nice. There are a few cards in this set that have to do with 5 or more mana values among cards in your graveyard. I'm not sure how great that is. It's kind of hard to evaluate, but the body, the keywords, and like if you're in sacrifice, paying 1 to sacrifice and surveil 1, and then you have upside, like there's got to be a home for this. Like I think this card is good.
I feel like this card is good enough for Pioneer, right?
Yeah,
I think this is good enough for Pioneer.
Excuse me.
Like modern, I think modern. It's a big ask at 3. But like even still, like the words on it are nice, right? Like menace, lifelink. It's a vampire and a rogue, so there probably is a tier 2/3 deck that wants this in modern. I think this has to be played in Pioneer though. Pioneer is such a format that plays to the board, plays to long game value. Like, come on.
Yeah. Okay, so this card I don't think is good, but I wanted to read it just because it has an interesting text box, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. So, Vampire Scrivener, or Scrivener.
Scrivener.
Yeah. 4 and a black for a 2/2 Vampire Warlock with flying.
Okay.
Whenever you gain life during your turn, put a +1/+1 counter on Vampire Scrivener. Whenever you lose life during your turn, put a +1/+1 counter on Vampire Scrivener.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You think this works at 5 mana? Like, you think this sees go somewhere?
No, I don't think it sees play. I haven't seen a card with this kind of text box before.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah.
And I just thought it was interesting.
That's fair. No, I think that's important to bring out too. There's a lot of nice keywords and the way they're wording things in this set. Like, okay, so we're bringing up this, right? With like on your turn, gaining and losing life. There's also like the CMC 5 mana, like CMC of different, 5 different mana values.
Yeah.
They're trying to push some things, right? And you're right. Like, I think this could be one of them. These are ideas that look at sets down the line. If this set is received well, don't be surprised if you're seeing similar text like this on vampires moving forward in a future set. Don't be surprised if you're seeing, 5 mana value, whatever, as a keyword in a future set, right? Like if it's received well. So that's pretty valuable to bring up. I agree.
And the last one that I thought might be okay, maybe for like a Pioneer or even like a limited kind of thing, is Extract the Truth.
Yeah.
1 and a black sorcery, choose 1. Target opponent reveals their hand. You may choose a creature, enchantment, or planeswalker card from it, and they discard it. Or target opponent sacrifices an enchantment. That's a line that we've been seeing more and more on black cards lately. So a card from Kamigawa that sees an okay amount of pauper play now is Debt to the Kami. which is 2 and a black instant. Target opponent sacrifices a creature, or target opponent sacrifices an enchantment. You get to choose which one. So this to me has like a similar vibe, but it's a sacrifice enchantment, which isn't like a ton of things in Pauper at the moment. Mostly like Boggles.
No, but Boggles is a big deck. Like you have to have enchantment hate in Pauper. Like you can't leave without that. So that is important.
So it's like cool. They sacrifice one of their enchantments, or it doubles as a 2-mana pseudo Thoughtseize. Hitting creatures. Not as much enchantments, definitely not planeswalkers, but like getting to rip a creature or an enchantment out of their hand, seems like not terrible.
Yep.
So that's pretty much it for black for me.
For black, okay, yeah. So I think with red, I think there's only 2 cards that like I'm thinking of right now. One of them is like the card that we brought up. There's another one I kind of just want to bring up for fun here. I think it's worth bringing up because it feels like I've seen it in a combo deck in Historic, and it feels like one of those like critical mass type of cards where it could matter. And I guess maybe there's a color hate spell that you want to bring up. So the card. So I'll talk about the card I want to bring up. Big score.
Yep.
Red and 3 for an instant. As an additional cost to cast the spell, you discard a card. So for 4 mana, an instant, you have to discard a card as well. Draw 2 cards. Create 2 treasure tokens.
Like, so I'm pretty sure this literally exists in other sets recently. Like, I know there's like a 3-mana one that's like similar, and there's like a 4-mana one that's similar.
Yeah, and that's why I'm bringing this up, because in Historic there's a combo deck that uses effects like this. So
there's a standard deck that uses stuff like this.
Okay, yeah, that's perfect. Yeah. So I think it's a critical mass thing.
Unexpected Windfall.
Yes, there you go. Yeah, that's one of them. And it's a critical mass thing. It's like you're creating. So one thing to note is this is even on card advantage, right? Like you're casting this card, you're discarding a card to draw 2 cards, but then you're creating 2 treasure tokens. So it's like you're kind of churning through your deck. You're casting multiple spells. This card technically casts for 2 mana because you get the 2 return, and it's something like that. There's a treasure combo deck that's brewing in every format. It exists in Historic. I guess it exists in Standard to some degree, and at some point, if everything is kicker, it will exist in another format as well. So I wanted to bring up Big Score for that. But throw me at him. Do you want to talk about the card hate, the color hate one first, or
no? Talk about the big one.
The big one. Okay, so it is an enchantment. Oh Lord, it's like for those of you going around Magic Twitter and everywhere, it's like people have just been calling this Ragavan on an enchantment. Okay, Sticky Fingers.
Roughly,
yeah. Sticky Fingers. 1 red for an enchantment aura. And aura is important for certain cards as well. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature has menace. And whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, you create a treasure token. It doesn't even end there. When enchanted creature dies, you draw a card. I'm done. This is common. This is a common. Like this is a common.
That's the big thing. That's the big thing. If this was an uncommon, I would be much more okay with it.
I can't even imagine limited with this card.
Yes, that's the thing.
This is insane.
I'm pretty sure red is like probably the best color in limited for this format.
Just because of this card.
But partly for this card. Like, if I'm drafting, I'm taking every copy of this I can.
100%. This card is insane. 1 red for an enchantment. Your creature now has menace. It has an evasion mechanic. If it connects, you have ramp. If it dies, you draw a card. At common? I don't even know. The card just kept going. There was just so many words. It just kept reading and reading and reading. Now, to be fair, let's preface this. Let's talk about this as a common. We've already brought this up in limited. And Jack, I think you can probably talk about this better in limited as well, but we've already brought it up. In Pauper, right now, the big discussion is it technically doesn't have a home, but we already kind of talked about this for Heroic. Talk to me about it. What do you think? What do you think for Heroic?
So Heroic, like I said, like the mono white heroic deck is a thing in Pauper. It's getting some other cards. Now it might go into red white.
Mono red heroic actually is a thing.
Mono red is one?
Yeah, mono red's heroic, and it actually gets 5-0s in places and challenges. It's a thing.
Oh, wow.
It's a thing. So that's why people were like, it was like, if you go to the Reddit threads, everyone's like, oh, I don't know where this goes. And at the bottom, everyone's like the ones that aren't getting upvoted are like, what the hell is everyone talking about? Mono red heroic is actually a deck that places in challenges.
Yeah.
Y'all are high.
Yeah.
This is like,
you can also fit this into Boggles. Like you can play it in a bunch of places.
I feel like Boggles has to become Naya for this. Like, am I just talking out of my butt? Like, this card is insane. Like, it does so much.
It does so much.
Anyway, that's my rant. Like, the fact that it's common and limited, the fact that instant Pauper's like staple in like a niche deck.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know what else you got. Like, it's cool.
It's wild. Yes. So the red hate spell.
Yeah.
Torch Breath. X and red. Instant. Costs 2 less to cast if it targets a blue permanent. So you get 2 in your X for free, essentially. Yeah. This spell can't be countered. Torch Breath deals X damage to target creature or planeswalker. So this is okay. It's not great. It's okay. It's one of the better ones. I still think cards like Fry are better.
Yep. Especially on rate,
like Rending Volley.
Because Fry you still
is better.
Fry you still deal more damage, right? Fry is 5, and then for 2 mana on this card, you only deal 4.
No, you deal 3. And
2 less to cast. Oh, right. Yeah. Wow, that's much worse.
Yeah. And Fry also hits white. Rending Volley for
right.
deals 4. Yeah.
Right,
so it's worse than that. But in formats where standard, most specifically, where those cards aren't legal, it's fine. It's better. It's far superior to the black, the blue one. I think it's like on par, maybe a little worse. I think it's a little worse than the white one.
Okay.
And I'm trying to remember. We'll get to the green one. I don't remember if the green one is worse than this or not.
Yeah.
So what's another good one? Okay, here's the big one.
Okay.
That everyone's talking about. Professional Facebreaker.
Pow.
2 and a red for a 2/3 human warrior with menace. All right. Already like the body.
Yep.
Whenever 1 or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, create a treasure token. Okay, it's not when a creature, so it's one. It's basically 1 per combat step. Okay, that's not broken.
Yep.
Sacrifice a treasure. Exile the top card of your library. You may play that card this turn. This is the line. Of text
exactly
in combination with the body.
There is so much treasure support everywhere. Yo, this is instant include an EDH in any deck that plays treasures. Instant include your historic. There has to be like the historic standard. There has to be decks that want to play this, right? Like mid-range aggro red decks.
Sorry. I'm getting a call right now, Chef. Ring. Oh, is that you, Prosper?
Damn, yo, this card is so good. It really is. This does so much.
It does everything Prosper wants to do. It makes treasures and it exiles cards that you can play. And there's a lot of that going on in the set of like red exiling cards from the top of their library, like Rob the Archives. 1 in a red sorcery, casualty 1. So you can sacrifice a creature with power 1 to copy it. Exile the top 2 cards of your library. You may play those cards this turn.
So good.
So 2 mana, exile top 2, and you get to play those. Or 2 mana, sack sack any creature that has any power, and then you get to exile the top 4 cards of your library and play them this turn.
All right. I think I'm good with red from there.
And I'm like, that's solid. Hold on.
I think I'm good. Hold
on. Well, you might be good. I might not be good.
There are some other notable cards. Other cards.
So. Okay, here's one I like. Jaxus the Troublemaker.
Yes.
So not only is there a card with Blitz on it, but it has almost Jack on it. Jaxus. Doesn't look anything like me. This lad is much more strapping and handsome than me. He looks like he should be on what's that Netflix show that a bunch of people Leaky Blinders? Is that
Peaky Blinders. Yeah. It's like the
he looks like he should be on that show.
Yes.
So it's a 3 and a red for a 2/3 legendary human warrior. Red, tap, discard a card. Create a token that is a copy of another target creature you control. It gains haste, and when this creature dies, draw a card. Sacrifice at the beginning of your next end step. Activate only as a sorcery. So essentially, for a cost of tapping red and discarding card, you create a token of a creature that has Blitz. You make a copy of a creature that you have, and that copy has Blitz.
Yeah.
Essentially. And then this card itself also has Blitz for 1 and a red.
Yep.
So like I think this card is very good.
Yeah, it's like a fixed Kiki because they attach mana to it.
Kind of.
That's the big thing, right? Like they attach mana to it.
Mana, and you have to discard, but you get to draw a card.
Yeah. So it's like it's still like it's like technically
it's card neutral.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's card neutral, and you have to pay a mana. But on the counterpoint, Kiki is a 5 mana creature with 3 red pips. This is just 3 and a red. Or you can blitz it out for 1 and a red. So like, yeah, it's I would compare it a little bit to like maybe Fable the Mirror Breaker or something like that. It's definitely a weaker Kiki, but like it can do some cool stuff.
Yeah. No, it's definitely very cool. I do like it for that. It feels like the rares in this set are actual rares. Like they're not buttoned out. Like the fact that the token gains haste and draws you a card, like you feel like you're getting back something for your ability. It's not just oh, I need to copy something big. Like it feels good to just copy a creature for value because you are gonna just be drawing a card.
Yeah.
So it is nice that way.
I can skip that one. Okay, I don't know how to feel about this card, but I feel like this. My gut tells me that this should be good, but I don't know where it goes.
Go for it.
Devilish Valet, 2 and a red for a 1/3 Devil Warrior with trample and haste.
Mm-hmm.
And then it has Alliance, which is the Naya keyword. Or sorry, Cabaretti. Sorry, I'm gonna call them Naya.
Yeah.
Whenever another creature, so Alliance is has to do with whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control. So all of them will have that. So whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, double Devilish Valet's power until end of turn. So you have this creature, you have this 1/3 trample haster. You know, another creature comes onto the field on your side. It's now a 2/3 trample haster.
Yep.
Oh, but you get to play another creature. Now it's a 4/3 trample haster.
Yep. Goes up like exponentially in that sense.
Right.
Yep.
So I feel like when it comes down, it's probably not going to be like the best thing. But when Naya's whole thing in this set is going wide, making a bunch of tokens and these sorts of effects, I can see this doing some things. And you know, there are some pretty nutty token cards around. So like, maybe not the turn you play it, but the turn after, you could get this to 4, 8, 16 power.
Yeah, and I think this feels like the card, like the type of card that, like, especially for something like Pioneer or like Historic or whatever, like there's like a card coming in the next set or set down the line that'll hyper power this up. In Standard, there's going to be like a card that's 4 and it's going to give you like 2 creatures off the bat. It's like that and like other 2. Like there's gonna be ways to like turn this into some like crazy attack, you know?
Yeah.
Like there's gonna be cards that do that.
Yeah. So maybe it's not quite strong enough. I'm not sure. The one other card I want to talk about because it's just funny to me and it might see some play. Gold Hound.
Okay.
For a single red, you have a 1/1 artifact treasure dog.
Treasure.
With First Strike and Menace. And you can tap to sack to add 1 mana of any color.
Everything is kicker.
No, it's not kicker.
No. I'm being facetious.
It's treasure. It's a treasure, but it's also a 1-mana first strike menace creature. That is at common.
Yeah, I think this has to do something in like red mid range.
Affinity.
Yeah. So like beyond that in Pauper. I think the big thing is that Pauper's big 1-drop right now is Blood Fountain. Because Blood Fountain creates 2 artifacts. You create like the blood token and you have Fountain itself.
Yes.
But
and then it has value later. But like it's just a 1-mana artifact that you can trade in for value later, and it's got good keywords. Like I feel like this goes in the Grixis Affinity decks and the Mardu Affinity decks.
Yeah, like if you're aggressive, like sure. Yeah, exactly. Like if you're not trying to play some like mid-range game, you're just like you want to hit people in the face, and then you want to do something later with like a card there. Yeah, 100%.
I think this even goes in the mid-range because you can sack it later for value. Like
that's fair too.
It's so cheap.
Like, the big thing, honestly, it's just the big thing with mid-range. It's just got to fight with Blood Fountain. That's all it is.
And it could go in the like there's like that red-white deck with experimental synthesizer.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? The red-white one?
Yeah. Yeah, because it's an artifact and you can... You know what? This could be something... Yeah, like the Boros mid-range decks can really mess with this. Yeah.
I'm done with red.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay. No worries. That's red. So last color in the monocolored stuff, because we still have multicolored stuff to go through.
Yes. Absolutely. I actually have a good amount of green because I think this is the other really good color in the set.
Yeah. All right. Let's run through it. Yeah. So
talk about yours.
Okay. Workshop War Chief. This is the oh Lord, I'm so bad with names. What's the other 5/3 that this is comparable to? Yo, I literally just made a modern video on this and I can't remember.
You literally have it on your sheet. Yes, this is Workshop War Chief. Is Mom? Can we have Thragtusk? Well, we have Thragtusk at home. Thragtusk at home. Workshop War Chief.
So let's compare.
But I unironically think this is better than Thragtusk.
So let's compare this. So Workshop War Chief is green 3 for a 5/3 creature Rhino Warrior. Trample. When Workshop War Chief enters the battlefield, you gain 3 life. When Workshop War Chief dies, you create a 4/4 green Rhino creature token. Then it has Blitz for 6. So green blue. Green 4. And then you can play this, and it has haste. You swing it dies. You draw a card, and then of course when it dies, you can also get a 4/4 thanks to its trigger.
Draw a card. Yep.
Comparably to Thragtusk is a blink target, and it's easier to splash. So in Tron decks in Modern, which are playing Thragtusk, if at all, it's 1 green. Yeah. So
Workshop War Chief small.
Thragtusk is 1 green. A lot easier to splash. It's the same mana. It's a 5/3. Doesn't have trample, but you create a 3/3 off of its ETB, and you gain more life off of its ETB. It's 5 life instead of 3.
No. So
yeah.
So you got to kind of mix. So ETB, it gains 5 life, leaves the battlefield, creates a 3/3.
Okay, it's a leave. Okay, yeah. Okay, so it's still in that sense, it will still work with like blink effects. In that sense, it will work with blink effects.
Essentially, Workshop War Chief, it's the same formatting, but it costs an extra green, but that's not a huge deal. It has trample. You gain less life, but the creature the creature you get is bigger, but it is die instead of leave the battlefield. So there's like very minute differences, and then you also get the blitz effect. So it's very similar in power level, and like minute differences. You might want Thragtusk over Workshop War Chief. Like Tron is still if Tron is playing if Tron is playing for one of these effects, they're going to play Thragtusk because it's easier for them to make 1 green than 2 green. But I think if you're a mid-rangey deck, Workshop War Chief is probably better. If you're a blink deck, Thragtusk is better.
Yeah, exactly. If you're trying to play like Resto Angel, but this is more aggressive. Exactly. Workshop War Chief is more aggressive. It's more in your face, which is why I think in the formats under Modern, it will just be played more. Like if those two were legal, like you would just be playing this more because you're more concerned with the value that this provides, I think. So that's the card I got. What do you got for me in green?
Okay, so the green hate card. Bouncer's Beatdown. 2 and a green for an instant. Costs 2 less if it targets a black permanent.
Okay.
Bouncer's Beatdown deals X damage to target creature or planeswalker, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. If that creature or planeswalker would die, exile it instead.
Okay. Okay. What do you think?
So it's fine. It's
yeah. That's what I mean.
Special.
Like it was. I was waiting for like, am I missing something? It's fine.
No, it's fine. Yeah. It's So if I was to rank the 5 per se, I would say the white one is probably the best.
Okay.
So I would say the white one, and then there's like this and the red one. So what I don't like about this is you really okay. No, let me rephrase. Let me think about it. No, I think this is better than the red one because you're gonna play this in a sideboard of a deck that you just have like tall green creatures in like some sort of stompy style deck. This is probably better if you need to deal with black permanents for whatever reason. Mm-hmm. So I think so. Yeah, so it probably goes white, then this, and then the red one, and then there's a big cavern, then there's the blue one, and then there's an infinite abyss, then the black one.
I think I agree to like with like some caveats, but that's like format dependent caveats. Like largely the list makes sense. I think like 1 or 2 maybe get swapped depending on the format you're in, but like yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Okay, what else you got in green?
Capenna Express.
Ooh, them trains.
Choo choo. 3 and a green for a 6/6 artifact vehicle.
Yeah.
Has crew 3. So, okay, modest crew. Sacrifice a treasure. Capenna Express becomes an artifact creature till end of turn.
Yo, it's kicker. I'm joking. It's making treasures to make 6/6s. Yo, okay, here's my thing.
You can sacrifice a treasure to make it become a 6/6.
I feel like red-green aggro with like treasures is a thing. Yeah. Like that's good. And this is gonna be like a top end.
We'll talk about it when we get to gold cards. Like red green like mid-range aggro-y stuff like is gonna be strong. Yeah.
Like that's gonna be where like in standard historic, like that's where this card is gonna be a great exploit for that. Yeah. Sacrificing a treasure just to create a 6/6, like you don't lose another creature out of combat, like pretty good. Pretty good.
And speaking of treasures, this is a card that I'm looking forward to for Pauper.
Okay.
And that is Jewel Thief.
Ooh.
2 and a green for a 3/3 cat rogue with vigilance and trample. Okay, I already love the body.
Yep.
Okay. ETB, create a treasure token.
Oh, so good.
I was talking to Shaft before. My main Pauper deck at the moment is Jund Cascade.
Yeah.
And this feels like it slots in very well.
Yeah. You get that body right off the top. You can cascade into like the treasure right off the top. You can cascade into it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and creating treasure, it adds to, there are some artifact synergies in there. With the artifact lands, I have some Metalcraft stuff, like Galv Blast. Some versions are playing Bleak Coven Vampires.
Yeah.
You have like Reckoner's Bargain, or Deadly Dispute in there. Like you have synergies there. So like I'm very excited for this deck for my Pauper deck.
It's a pretty push common. Like just the body itself.
Yeah, it's a common. And it's just like it's very solid. And if there is a red green like treasure aggro deck or mid range deck, like this is the perfect 3-drop for it.
Yeah. 3 mana, 3/3 vigilance trample. This is a great common. So
a 2-drop for that deck that we're talking about, like this theorized like red green or like treasure aggro whatever. Gala Greeters. Okay. This is 1 and a green for a 1/1 elf druid with alliance.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, choose one that hasn't been chosen this turn.
Yes.
Put a +1/+1 counter on Gala Greeters. Create a tapped treasure token, or you gain 2 life.
So
note, this is also the international box topper. So every language this is printed in has its own unique artwork.
Oh,
and
I didn't
some
know
of
that.
them, yeah, and some of them are beautiful. Yes. So it's let's see, Spanish, Russian, Portuguese, Korean, Japanese, both simplified and traditional Chinese. Italian, German, obviously English, and what's other? Oh, French. Yep. And they all have different artworks that feel fairly thematic of like the region that they're going in, or at least it's just like nice looking. Like a lot of the Asian language ones are like more of that style. Like the Japanese one, they're wearing like nice kimonos or capes with like sakura blossoms. One of the Chinese ones, they have these nice peacock fans and traditional garb. Like Spanish and Portuguese, there's all these bright colors and markets and stuff. Like this is such a fantastic idea for a box topper, and they're going to be collector's items for that. That's something I want to mention besides the actual card.
Yeah. And I think like the card itself, like even beyond the art, like I think the type is really important. Like just being an elf. I think this is something like Modern Elves hasn't really been a deck in a very long time. But if Modern Elves does come back, the fact that, whenever another creature enters the battlefield, you get these 3. So Modern Elves can very easily trigger all 3 of these types on each turn.
And
like very easily.
It's good in a go wide deck. It's good in a red-green treasures deck. I like that this creates a tapped treasure token. I wish more cards said this.
Come on. This is that non-fire design right here. This is Wizards recovering from fire design.
Yes,
tapped treasures.
I think more treasure tokens, food tokens, etc. Like I think more of them should come in tapped. I think that's a way to balance it. But yeah, so I overall think this is like pretty solid. So one that I have that has treasures on it. This is the I think Dre and Enrico, friends of the podcast, were talking about why does this card exist? Do you know what I'm talking about, Chef?
No. Hit me with it.
Bootlegger's Stash.
Bootlegger's Stash. Oh, is that? Oh, yes. Yeah, that's the big EDH card from this set. Yes.
Why is this in green? This is 5 and a green for an artifact. Lands you control have tap, create a treasure token.
Woo!
Why does this exist?
Yo, this is the most safe, unbusted EDH card in known existence. Green has such a hard time getting to high mana values. Green has a very hard time synergizing with artifacts.
Chef.
Green doesn't play lands. Green cards in EDH don't play lands. Okay? They don't have any synergy with this. This is so balanced. Come on.
Jeff, I would like you to guess. So, granted, these are unreleased, pre-release prices, but according to Scryfall, I would like you to guess how much this card is and how much the alternate art is.
Nah.
In USD, and I'll give you some leeway. Like I'm not gonna be like you must get it within the penny. Like no. Like roughly.
Okay. What are the 2 prices? Like,
no,
you want
I'm
me to
asking
guess,
you to guess. Yes, I want.
no, but you said 2 prices.
Yes, so there's like the regular art bootlegger sesh, and then there's a alternate.
Okay, so prices. Okay, so I'm thinking EDH staple definitely has a lot of hype. It's like land based. It's in green.
A mythic.
It's a mythic. So yeah, rarity as well. I'm thinking like, bro, they ain't even trying to reprint Dockside Extortionist, and everything's going up by 11%. So people are gonna overpush this. Yo, $50. $50
for the regular.
For both.
Regular,
I don't think it's like that different because it's pre-order prices. I think over time.
You got right in between them. So the regular is roughly 46 USD and the alternate art is roughly 55 USD.
man, I hate EDH players, man. We need to ban this format. Nah, we need to ban this format. Nah. If you're listening to this format, and you play Commander, which is me.
No, you can't say that. Then all of our new mill spells go back to target.
Oh yeah, and then our SEO like on this podcast probably shrinks because friggin' like everyone's in a Commander.
Man. And fun fact, currently the most expensive card for like pre-ordering and everything is one of the Elspeth artworks.
Oh, it's not okay. Yeah.
And it's like $200.
Yo, you know what's a real tragedy in price in terms of like a quick aside? Yo, Heartless Hitasugu like alternate arts. Like the fact that people are like opening those and it's like hundreds of dollars. I swear there's a copy for like $1,000 or something. Like those like alternate arts or whatever. I'm like, that's garbage. Yo, y'all care about art too much, eh? Yo, you figure Magic players, like, you can't even play the game properly. Y'all be mis-sequencing your lands, but like, yo, when it comes to art, dropping $1,000. Come on now.
That's funny. Okay, last treasure card in green that I wanted to talk about real quick, because it also probably fits in that aggro deck that we're talking about. Prize Fight. 1 in a green for an instant. Target creature you control fights target creature you don't control. Okay, basic fight spell.
Sure.
And then you get to create a treasure token.
Oh my god, everything's kicker. Everything's kicker.
But I think that's just like a solid fight spell, you know?
This is just cool art too. It's
that common.
It's a rhino fighting a raccoon.
The raccoon just got a big boxing glove, just punching the shit out of him.
Yeah, this is like, what's that N64 game? Is it Punch Out? No. Where it's like I don't even know. I don't know how to describe it. But this looks like that. This looks like that like old game. But yeah, no, this is great. Create a treasure token.
So last green card, because I like talking about cards. Titan of Industry.
Yes. This is a building killing people. Yes.
Yes. 4 green for a 7/7 elemental with reach and trample. Whenever Titan of Industry enters the battlefield, choose 2. And you cannot overlap. Destroy target artifact or enchantment. Target player gains 5 life.
Death Shadow Tech.
Create a 4/4 green Rhino Warrior creature token. Put a shield counter on a creature you control.
Okay.
What do you think? So, like, obviously it's like an EDH card, but and I don't think that they're going to play this. Like, the Titan players were memeing about, like, they were jokingly like, oh yeah, we can play this in Titan. I don't think it actually goes there, but
yeah. No, I think in EDH it's perfectly fine. Like the fact that you get to pick 2, I think the shield counter is really relevant. 5 life in the 4. You know what? 5 life in the 4. So the 5 life is the least relevant one. I think the most relevant are the 4/4 and the artifact and enchantment hate. But like reach trample 7/7 is good enough. It's green reach trample 7/7 good enough.
Yep.
And then like any text you put on it will make it good.
Oh, I am so sorry. I have 2 more green cards.
Okay, go for it.
They got lost in my gold stuff. Sorry.
Go for it.
I'm mentioning this specifically because of the typing. So, Topiary Stomper. 1 green for a 4/4 plant dinosaur.
Plant
dinosaur with vigilance. So, okay, 3/3 for or 4/4 for 3 in vigilance. Okay, what's going on? Because that's above rate.
Yeah.
When Topiary Stomper enters the battlefield, search your library for a basic land card, put on the battlefield, tapped and shuffle. Okay, it's got upside. What's going on? Topiary Stomper can't attack or block unless you control 7 or more lands.
There it is. Oh, that's not bad. So if you're playing Topiary Stomper, on curve you play it for 3. You put a land tapped onto the battlefield, right? And then you're
you have 4 mana, and you have this 4/4 vigilance that can be targeted by removal, but you can't attack or block with it.
Yeah. And then next turn you play 5. You have 5 lands. Like maybe you play another Topiary Stomper, and I don't know. Like they've balanced it on where on the curve it's coming down. But I think so the arena formats will use this. I think it's not bad. Like 3 mana ramp isn't like this is pretty good. Like I think it's pretty good. I think it's pretty good.
I'm just mentioning it specifically because I love when they print more dinosaurs, because I feel pretty aggrieved by Ixalan block. Like, yes, I love that they introduced pirates and dinosaurs, like, because I think they're cool creature types. But they didn't give us enough, and a lot of the good pirates and dinosaurs outside of a few from the block, most of them have come in either commander sets or just other sets.
Yeah.
So whenever I see a pirate or a dinosaur, especially a rare mythic, I'm like looking at it and I'm like, oh.
Yeah. I mean, hey, shout out to all the Phylath World Sculptor EDH players. It's like a red-green landfall deck that cares about plants. Yep. So there you go. You got another plant. That's it.
Last green card, I promise.
Okay, go for it.
Vivian on the Hunt.
Okay. Yes.
Okay. 4 green for a Vivian Planeswalker. Starts at 4 loyalty. +2. Keep in mind, +2. You may sacrifice a creature. If you do, search your library for a creature card with mana value equal to 1 plus the sacrificed creature's mana value. Put onto the battlefield and shuffle. Her +2 is Pod.
Yep. Yeah, it's literally like you get 1 activation of Pod. Yes. 1 activation of Pod.
+1. Mill 5 cards, then put any number of creature cards milled this way into your hand.
I actually think that part is crazier, but in terms of like where I could see this card being played, the +2 is better, but in terms of where I see this being played, the +1 I think is better.
It also has a -1, create a 4/4 green Rhino Warrior creature token. It does not have an ultimate.
Yeah, not in the traditional sense of like, oh, -15, target player's life becomes 1 or something. Yeah, nothing like that.
Like, I think this is, like, EDH players are going to love this. I think this has, like, potential application. 6 mana is a little bit, but not having an ultimate and just having, like all 3 abilities are good and useful in situations.
I think this has the potential in Pioneer. Arena formats will jam the hell out of this because you play this for 6. You're probably already ramping, like you might be playing Topiary Stomper, some treasure tokens, generators, like you get to this. You -1 to create a 4/4. You have blockers. Next turn, you then like +1 to refill your hand, or you like +2 to just like create, like you just like look for your bigger bodies. I think this card works. Just not in Modern, but this card works. Like, it does exactly what Wizards wanted it to do. I think this card's good. I think this card works. And I like its +1 better. But, like, okay, I keep having to caveat at this. The +2 is much better as a vacuum effect. It is much crazier. But where this will be played, I think you'll see +1 over +2 more often. Because green players love drawing cards. Look at Veil of Summer. Okay, so let's hop into the multicolor section. There are a ton of multicolor cards. So I think that, like, just for the sense of time, because there are some other things I want to touch on, let's try and go over these as quick as possible. There's one card that I think is worth mentioning because it's probably, in my opinion, the most busted card in this set. We've already mentioned it in our pre-podcast discussion. Let's talk about the charms. Okay? Let's run through these charms. Okay? I want to bring... all of the charms have their own relevancy. I've only put in, I think, 3 in the notes here. So feel free to bring up the other ones. I'm going to go over these really quick. Broker's Charm, which is the Bant charm. Choose 1 target creature you control gets +1/+0 until the end of turn. It deals damage equal to its power to target creature or planeswalker an opponent controls. Destroy target enchantment and draw 2 cards. The only reason I think this card is relevant is just like Archmage's Charm, just like Esper Charm, it has draw 2 cards. Archmage's Charm is much better because it says counter spell, so that's fine. But people will force Esper Charm like Esper Charm is their mom or something. Like, they will force that card into everything no matter how bad that card is. Broker's Charm has draw 2 cards, which I think immediately allows this card to be in certain conversations. I think this card in Modern only can be played in 4-color control, but in that case, I think there are other options that are better. But just having draw 2 cards, in my opinion, allows this to be in a conversation. That's it. Just having draw 2 cards at instant speed. Is there, like, do you want me to keep going, or I can just name them off and then you give me yours?
You can go ahead.
Maestro's Charm, the Grixis Charm. Choose 1. Look at the top 5 cards of your library. Put one of them into your put one of those cards in your hand and the rest of into your graveyard. Not at the bottom of your library. You choose 1 and you put the other 4 into your graveyard. Each opponent loses 3 life and gains 3 life. Maestro's Charm deals 5 damage to target creature or planeswalker. So I actually really like this for certain reasons. I actually really like this for certain reasons. I'm not saying this is going to change Modern. It doesn't even technically have a home in Modern. But you get card filtering, graveyard feeding for things like Delirium or Delve. Then you get oh my god, what's that Boros card? Lightning Helix. You get Lightning Helix on a Grixis card. And you
and
then
it's
get
each, not target each opponent.
Exactly, that's each. So you get around some hexproof effects, right? But you don't get to kill creatures. So that you're right. So it says opponent, you don't get to ding creatures, but you do get to deal 5 damage to target creature or planeswalker. I think the part that brings that down is that Unholy Heat is the new standard at 6. So 5 is slightly underpowered, but Maestro's Charm is cool. Then finally, the last charm I want to bring up, Obscura Charm, which is the Esper charm. Return target multicolored permanent with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Counter target instant or sorcery spell, or destroy target creature or planeswalker that's CMC 3 or less. This card is cool because you get to return Teferi or Ashiok or Narset from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. That doesn't stop you from activating it. Counter target instant or sorcery spell, and then destroy, I don't know, Dryad of the Elysian Grove, Snapcaster Mage, Endurance,
Teferi, Ashiok.
Yeah, Teferi, Ashiok, Narset, whatever it might be, Renin 6.
Yep.
You destroy those.
I think you've picked up the 3 of the best charms. But I definitely think like Grixis and Esper probably the better 2. I don't think the Jund and the Naya ones are like that great, although there is some hype behind the Jund one, so maybe we'll see.
The Jund one I think meets it just because it says, I think it's a graveyard hate, right? It's like exile graveyards or something like that. Target player's graveyard or each graveyard, and I think that's the only reason it can be in the conversation. So it meets the requirement of like it has a baseline good effect that is relevant in the format. You know, like draw 2 cards, like destroying a permanent, you know, stuff like that. So it meets that baseline, but you're right, it may not meet the cut. But that's how I feel about the charms. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, overall, like I said, I think they might see some play in some formats. I'm not over in love with any of them, but it'll be interesting to see where they go. Okay,
I want to then let's kind of mix and match around. So I'm not going to talk about the ascendancies because I'm not that versed in them. I don't know if you want to bring them up.
I wasn't going to.
Okay. Yeah, the ascendancies aren't that interesting to me. They need to make a mill ascendancy where whenever a crab enters the battlefield, target player's library disappears. So that needs to be a thing. The next card I want to bring, I'm going to save Ob Nixilis to the end, if that's okay.
Sure.
I'm going to save Ob to the end because Ob, in my opinion, is busted in certain formats. So Void Rend, Esper colors for an instant. This spell can't be countered. Destroy target non-land permanent. I think this is a great 1 to 2 of across the 75. If you're an Esper control deck, I don't know why you wouldn't play 1 to 2 copies of this. Card is like kind of stupid good in terms of.
I'm a little colder on it than some people. I think that having consistently like all 3 colors of mana is like iffy. I think it's better in like Esper control than like say Esper Mill.
Yeah.
I think Esper Mill, this is like a bit of a stretch to ask for. Like, yes, the effect is nice and it can be countered. I just don't know how often you are going to have those 3 colors lined up ready to go.
And that's why I think it's like
the 3 mana slot's already really clogged in Mill right now.
And I think that's why it's like a 1 of or like a 2 of. Like even in like if you played this in Esper control in Modern, like your options are generally better. Like at 3 mana, you're probably playing like Archmage's Charm, you have Prismatic Ending, and like you have other stuff. But I think the fact that like it can't be countered is probably what gives it the edge. If it was all of this text, but this spell can be countered, right? Like it didn't have that text, this card would be a lot worse. I think not being countered gives this an edge in control decks and is an option in Esper control. But like the counterpoint is like, yes, it is a large ask for the 3 colors. Like if it's like, oh, I can destroy Blood Moon, but like, do you have 3 colors under Blood Moon type of thing? Like that's tough enough as it is. So,
right.
So that's that. And then I was talking about board wipes before. I want to quickly bring up Corpse Explosion, which is 1 black and a red for a sorcery. As an additional cost to cast this spell, exile a creature from your graveyard Not on the battlefield. Exile a creature from your graveyard. Corpse Explosion deals damage equal to exile creature's power to each creature and each planeswalker. So I think like
funny card.
The funny thing about this is like the weird thing that everyone keeps bringing up is like, oh, you like exile a Death Shadow in your graveyard and you just like blow up everything. I don't know if you play this in Death Shadow, you would just wipe your whole board, but like it's something. It's something.
Yeah,
I like,
it's cute.
Again, like my spiel about like the envelope of board wipes being pushed is always interesting to me.
Right.
So that's why I like that. But I think that's it in terms of like, I know there's one card in this document, but I'm not really going to bring this up.
Yeah, it's whatever.
But
I have some interesting ones, I think.
Go for it. And then we'll talk about Obnics.
Yeah, we'll talk about that and then artifacts, yeah. So, there's a cycle that I think might be interesting for Pauper. Which there's not like a name for this cycle, but they're 3-colored creatures that have the effect 2 mana exile X from your hand, X being like the name of the card because they all have different names. So like 2 mana, you exile this card, target land gains tap, add the 3 colors that are in the card until the card is cast from exile. You may cast the card for as long as it remains exiled. So maybe if I read one, it'll make more sense. So the one that I'm excited for is the Jund one, because Pauper. So it's Masked Bandits. So it's 3 black, red, green for a 5/5 Raccoon Rogue with Vigilance and Menace.
Raccoon Rogue.
And then it has pay 2 mana, exile Masked Bandits from your hand. Target land gains tap, add black, red, or green until Masked Bandits is cast from exile. You may cast Masked Bandits for as long as it remains exiled.
Yeah.
So it's essentially 2 mana, exile this card. You now have a land that casts that can tap for all of your colors. And then later on in the game, as long as it's still in exile, you can cast a 6 mana 5/5 Vigilance Menace creature. So
I think this
is kind of sweet.
In Pauper, this is actually really interesting. Like the fact that like so you're paying 2 mana to exile a card from your hand to then give a land a different tapping ability. Like you're fixing your mana, and then you can still cast the card. So it's kind of like the storybook stuff, or like the what's the Thorn of Eldraine mechanic?
Adventure.
Adventure, yeah. It's kind of like Adventure in that sense.
In a sense, yeah.
Yeah. So it's essentially like the adventure cost is the adventure spell is always you make a land like different, and then you get to cast the creature later. That's how you want to think about this.
Yeah,
I think it's interesting in Pauper because like I'm not saying it's going to get played in Tron, but the fact that like it doesn't cost colors to do it is interesting in Tron because Tron is 5 colors in Pauper. So there's a world where something like that matters, and that's like a base level understanding. Yeah.
So just give maybe a quick overview if you like Pauper. So that was like the Jund one. Quick one. The Naya one is 2 and Naya colors for a 5/3 Elf Druid Rogue. ETB, create a 1/1 green-white citizen creature token, and then it has the make a Naya land. I don't think this is as good, and there's not really many Naya decks, so I don't think this one's as good. Shattered Seraph is 4 and Esper for a 4/4 Angel Rogue with flying. ETB, gain 3 life. Again, not many Esper decks. There are a lot of blue-white decks, a lot of blue-black decks. Maybe, I don't know. It's high costed, but it's also a 4/4 flyer that gives you life. So I don't know. Maybe. Glamorous Outlaw is the Grixis. So it's 3 and a Grixis for a 4/5 Vampire Rogue that when it ETBs deals 2 damage to each opponent and you scry 2. And then has the land effect. This one's not bad, but I'm not sure of a home for it yet. But I don't think it's bad. And then the Bant is Spara's Educators.
Okay,
2 and Bant for a 4/4 Cat Citizen. When it enters the battlefield, target creature an opponent controls can't attack or block until your next turn. And then has the Bant fixing on it. So I do think the Jund one is the best one, personally.
It probably is. Yeah. Especially in terms of the colors related to Pauper. It's much more relevant there, especially with the body and everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Okay, so remember that red-green treasure aggro deck we were talking about earlier?
Yeah.
I found a few more cards that might go in there.
Go for it.
All right, so I have Security Rocks.
Security rocks, okay.
RHOX. I don't think security actually rocks. So it's 2 red-green for a 5/4 Rhino Warrior. Okay. You may pay red-green rather than pay the spell's mana cost. Spend only mana produced by treasures to cast it this way.
Wow.
So if you are a red-green aggro deck or mid-range deck that is focused on generating treasures, you now have a 2 mana 5/4.
Yup. Exactly.
But you're not going to play this on turn 2. It's going to be a little later. So it's more of a you want to multi-spell on a turn, and this is a way to make multi-spelling easier.
Yeah, like you play like a creature or two, and then all of a sudden like you're paying 4 mana, and like you have like 12, 13 power on board, and you're like, all right, opponent pass. Like, yeah, that's it, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yes. Now this one I think is the egregious one. Black Market Tycoon.
okay.
Red and a green for a 2/2 cat rogue, which already I'm a big fan of. At the beginning of your upkeep, Black Market Tycoon deals 2 damage to you for each treasure you control.
Ooh.
And you can tap it to create a treasure token.
Okay, so it just incentivizes you to try and use the like treasures.
Yes.
More immediately.
This incentivizes you to be aggressive with your treasure use.
Okay.
So the reason I like this is not because it's super, super good. The reason I like this is it's a balancing tool.
Right. For treasures. Like if you wanted to use this, you can make treasures, but like you got to use them.
Correct. Okay, keeping with the red-green X theme, Ginny Faye Jetmir second. So it's green, and then it's red-green hybrid and green-white hybrid.
Yeah, the hybrids in this set are really weird. Yeah.
So in theory, this can be a mono green card, or it can be anywhere in between. Naya.
Oh, that's interesting. Actually, you're right. Yeah.
So it's a 3/3 elf druid, legendary elf druid. If you would create 1 or more tokens, you may instead create that many 2/2 green cat creature tokens with haste, or that many 3/1 green dog creature tokens with vigilance. So this is if you have a friend that plays Rin Seri in Commander.
I mean, this is just a great Commander card in general. This is like
in general, it's good if you're creating any sort of tokens. This is pretty good. If you're in that red green aggro deck that makes treasures, all of your cards that say make a treasure now create creatures.
Yep, exactly.
For a 3/3 for 3.
I'm just getting what you're saying.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Yes.
I'm just understanding. So your treasure tokens, your anything tokens, your food tokens, your clue tokens, all just become creatures.
Yeah, they become 2/2 green cats with haste, or 3/1 green dogs tokens with vigilance. Now, granted, you cannot mix and match. That's the one thing, is you cannot mix and match. They have on each instance of token generation, you have to choose.
Right, like if you're creating 3 treasures, folks, like so if you're creating 3 treasures at once with 1 spell, all of them have to be the 2/2 cat, or all of them have to be the 3/1 dog.
Correct.
Yeah.
But if they're individual triggers, you get to choose on each individual trigger.
Yeah.
But I think this is a cool card.
This is a great card. This is a great card. Any token.
Yes. Here's a fun one. I don't think this will see modern play, but it has modern applications if it sees play. Okay.
Yeah.
Rocco Cabaretti Caterer. This is X red green white for a 3/1 legendary elf druid. When Rocco Cabaretti Caterer enters the battlefield, if you cast it, you may search your library for a creature card with mana value X or less, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle. So if you cast it for X equals 0, so if you just cast it for red, green, white, you can find Dryad Arbor.
Oh. So when it enters... Oh, it's not even a cast trigger. It's an ETB. It's an ETB. Yes. You can just flicker this.
Yes, it's an... No, you cannot flicker it. It's an ETB if you cast.
Oh, okay. If you okay. Sorry, so it is okay. Yeah. Man, why Wizards got to keep balancing cards? Okay, fine.
But it also scales with what you're trying to find. You pay more mana, so it's kind of weird. There might be an application somewhere out there for it, but I just figured mentioning like 3 mana, 3/1, and you get to find Dryad Arbor.
Yeah.
It's funny. I call this one. We have Mantis Rider at home. This is Fleetfoot Dancer, 1 red, green, white for a 4/4 elf druid with trample, lifelink, and haste.
Man, 1 more mana, eh? 1 more mana for different types and a 4/4.
Yep, and it's flying instead of flying, haste. And what's the other thing that Mantis Rider has?
Vigilance, flying, haste, vigilance.
Right. Instead of that, it's trample, lifelink, haste.
Trample, lifelink. Oh, right, no flying. Okay, yeah. So it's not okay. Yeah,
it's different Mantis Rider, but like it's in a similar vein.
Yeah, it truly is Mantis Rider at home. Okay, yeah, it is Mantis Rider at home.
Yeah. So I just memes. Sorry, I'm running through. I got 5 more.
Okay, go
I know
for
this is gonna be a long episode. Whatever.
Go for it.
Fatal Grudge. Black-red for a sorcery. As an additional cost to cast the spell, sacrifice a non-land permanent. So you can sacrifice your treasures or whatever else. Each opponent chooses a permanent they control that shares a type with the sacrificed permanent and sacrifices it. Draw a card.
Oh. Okay.
So I don't know how much play it sees, but there's some interesting things. So if you sacrifice a treasure, they can sacrifice an artifact or something that says treasure on it, like in the typing or whatever.
Yeah, it's nice that they give you the versatility at least. Like it's not forcing you.
They can sacrifice a token or an artifact. I believe
exactly.
Sacrifice creature. They have to sacrifice a creature. You sacrifice, I don't know, enchantment. They have to sacrifice enchantment, etc., etc. I don't know. Maybe it sees play, maybe not. All right.
What do you got for me?
Xander the Collector.
Ooh, the best mill card in the set.
4 blue, black, red for a 6/6 legendary vampire demon noble.
Some great artwork. I love this. Very classy.
It is. It's pretty good. The alt art's like okay.
Yeah,
but I like this art more. When Lord Xander the Collector enters the battlefield, target opponent discards half the cards in their hand rounded down.
Yep.
Whenever Lord Xander attacks, defending player mills half their library rounded down. Okay. When Lord Xander dies, target opponent sacrifices half the non-land permanents they control rounded down. So the only reason I'm bringing this up, other than EDH whatever, is in Pioneer, not so much Modern, you have this lovely little card, Zoran Imperious Bloodlord. I believe that's the correct sword.
Oh, vampire! Yes.
Imperious Bloodlord. So I have played this card in a different type of vampire deck. But so Zoran Imperious Bloodlord is a 3-mana planeswalker in black that has the ability -3. You may put a vampire creature card from your hand onto the battlefield. So turn 3 in Pioneer, you can play, assuming it doesn't get countered. You play Sorin, you -3, you slam Lord Xander on the table like the big dick energy player you are.
Yo, what about this with Goryo's Vengeance?
That could be funny.
Yo.
Yes, that is also a thing.
Because Goryo's Vengeance gives you the ETB, the attack, and the death trigger. That's what I'm saying. Yo, come on. There's a vampire deck out there that wants to use this with Goryo's Vengeance. Come on.
Oh my god. Or no, I think you can just put it in a general like Goryo's Vengeance deck with like Gristlebrand and Archon.
Yo, this is sick with Goryo's Vengeance.
Spicy. This is spicy. That's spicy.
Yo.
But I just thought it was funny because Pioneer, you're gonna have a little bit less interaction, so you can, in theory, turn 3, play your 7-drop.
Yeah.
That you get the ETB, so they have to discard half their hand rounded down.
Yep.
So that's like, assuming the control player doesn't counter your Sorin, pretty good against control. And then if it lives beyond that, it's like you have a 6/6 that's attacking that mills their library over, and then if they kill it, don't exile. If they kill it, then they have to sack permanents.
Yeah. I mean, look, I just want to brew a deck with Goryo's Vengeance with this now.
There you go.
I literally just want to make a Goryo's Vengeance deck out of this right now.
We're almost there. I got a couple Esper cards I want to talk about.
Go for it.
Or I guess maybe this is a ban card, but whatever. Scheming Fence. I'd heard a little bit talk about people wanting this in Modern. I'm not sure. So it's a white-blue for a 2/3 human citizen. As Scheming Fence enters the battlefield, you may choose a non-land permanent. Activated abilities of the chosen permanent can't be activated.
Right.
Scheming Fence has all activated abilities of the chosen permanent except for loyalty abilities. You may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to activate those abilities. So it is not good against Planeswalkers, but it's niche. Like, you have to be in a format where there's a lot of impactful activated abilities, ones that are, you know, maybe you don't necessarily want to activate them, but you want to shut it off. This is kind of like a hate bear for that. I don't know if you have any ideas about this card.
So I will tell, like, okay, so I don't know the format that well, but I believe that an effect like this, it's kind of like Tomic, right? Or it's like Tomic, or
Tomic was the one for lands.
And then like Lavinia is a little bit more universal, but this is the type of effect that like only sees play in Vintage, because Vintage players are demons. Like, they'd be doing the worst type of stuff with Magic cards, right? Like, they'd be exploiting them to hell. So if this saw play anywhere, it's just Vintage. I don't know what it's hating out, but it's so niche.
I mean, it hits any of the mocks. You can force your opponent to sack the Black Lotus because you play it. You choose. Like while it's on the stack, they would have to sack it, or else it would just sit there because you get to name as it enters the battlefield. Oh no, you choose. As enters, you choose it.
Yeah. So you can just choose any. Like, you're playing a mind game with your opponent. Now again, like, other than that, I just don't see, like, it's just so niche.
It's very niche. Okay, so two. They think are a little less niche, but I don't know exactly where they go. So Obscura Interceptor is 1 white, blue, black for a 3/1 Cephalid Wizard, because Cephalids are back. With Flash and Lifelink. So 4 mana 3/1 Flash Lifelink. Okay. When Obscura Interceptor enters the battlefield, remember it has Flash, it connives. When it connives this way, return up to 1 target spell to its owner's hand. So it's one of those tricky, like, oh, your opponent has a spell on the stack, like an impactful spell. Okay, I have 4 mana, bring in my Interceptor, connive, so I get to loot and maybe put a counter on it, and then I return that spell that is on the stack back to your hand.
I think this is, like, standard historic, definitely play this. There's like I would not believe that this card is unplayed in either of those formats.
I don't know beyond that, like, where it goes, though.
I think it's just the cost of it that prevents it. But like, Flash Lifelink makes it a great blocker, and then just like, I mean, you have spells like Void Rend in the format, so like there is somewhere this is a targeting cards that want this effect. Owner's Hand as well. You get the immediate connive too. I mean, like, the value's there. There. Yeah.
So the last card in gold, and we can quickly go over artifacts. Sorry, listeners, for the long episode. You knew what you signed up for.
Don't worry. Yeah.
So I think it would be Tola's Clever Conductor.
Okay.
So it is blue, white-blue hybrid, blue-black hybrid. For a 3/1 legendary human rogue, when Toluz enters the battlefield, it connives. Whenever you discard 1 or more cards, which you just did on conniving, exile them from your graveyards. They hit the graveyard, and then they'll get exiled. When Toluz dies, put the cards exiled with it into their owner's hand.
Oh. Okay, a little. You got to jump through some hoops, but it's interesting. Okay,
but if you're in some sort of blue X deck that cares about discarding cards, this might be kind of interesting.
Yeah. And I think like the mana doesn't hold it back. Like I don't think a terrible amount. I think the mana lines up relatively with what this wants to do. Yeah. And it could, it's one of those things where it just could be mono blue. Like human rogue is always like relevant types and everything.
I think more often than not, it's going to be like blue, black is the casting cost. Because when you think of discarding cards, you think Grixis colors more so than Esper colors. So I can see it being in a blue-black, a blue-red, a Grixis sort of like discard whatever deck.
I think the way to think about this is that like when it enters the battlefield, it draws you two cards.
Correct.
It draws you two cards. Yeah. And that's the way you want to think about it, because you discard the card, but when it dies, and it relatively will die like pretty easily, it's a 3/1, you do get the discarded card back. So it is like 3 mana for a 3/1 that draws you two cards, and then the longer it lives, and then the longer it lives, the more it will draw you. Right? So it's really good in that sense. It's really good in that sense. I can't even imagine the garbage that this is going to be in like Commander, where you're just like casting Ephemerate on this and just like flickering it endlessly. Like your graveyard, or sorry, your exile zone is literally an extension of your hand. Like quite literally. And unfortunately, it's a die trigger. Like it's not a leave the battlefield trigger, but it's fine.
Right.
They had to balance it. That's fine. So artifacts.
I think you have one you want to talk about. I'm gonna quickly look through.
Okay, artifacts, and then artifacts, and then I want to touch on lands real quick. But the one artifact I want to talk about is the talk of the town, the coolest ability that's I think come out of an artifact in a very long time. Luxior Giada's Gift or whatever, not to be confused with the Food Network Beauty, but Luxior. Equipped creature gets +1/+1. Cook's great and that woman is beautiful. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each counter on it. Equipped creature, equipped permanent isn't a planeswalker and is a creature in addition to its other types. You can equip planeswalkers for 1. You can equip creatures for 1. So the big talk about this in terms of modern is Devoted Druid combo, and it works on curve. So you play this Giada's Gift for 1, colorless. You play Devoted Druid on 2. Then you equip it on 3 to Devoted Druid, so that when you untap Devoted Druid, you put a -1/-1 counter on it. But for each counter on Devoted Druid, you put a +1/+1 counter on it. So it goes infinite with Devoted Druid. It's another part of the combo. Will this bring Devoted Druid back? Probably not. There's so much goddamn removal in this format. Have fun sticking a permanent anywhere. Have fun with that. There's removal everywhere. The big talk about the town, talk on the town about this is like what it does to planeswalkers, turning planeswalkers into creatures, but with the ruling on it, you can still activate the abilities of the planeswalkers. So the planeswalkers become creatures with planeswalker abilities. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. There are some planeswalkers out there that you can do some really funny shenanigans on it, because it cares about the amount of times you've activated or like attack with it. Like it's essentially you're just turning every planeswalker into Gideon. It does some fun stuff. That's what I'll say.
I think I'm a little less. It's not quite my kind of card, so I'm a little less on it than some people. We did forget to talk about Ob Nixilis.
Oh, okay. Yes, you're right. Okay, Ob Nixilis.
And then there's some. There's no other artifacts I really want to talk about, but I do want to talk about a bunch of the lands.
Sure. So Ob Nixilis is like the most busted planeswalker I have ever.
You read it. I've done a lot of reading.
Yeah. Ob Nixilis is like the most busted planeswalker I've seen for like Pioneer and Historic. This is absolutely insane in my opinion. For one deck, it's like literally like one deck. But it's worth bringing up just because of that. Ob Nixilis is a 3-mana planeswalker, red, black, and 1 for a legendary planeswalker Nixilis. +1. So I'll read through its abilities first, and it'll kind of make sense about the other abilities. So
it starts with 3 loyalty.
Starts with 3 loyalty, exactly. +1. Each opponent loses 2 life unless they discard a card. Then, if you control a demon or a devil, you gain 2 life. So it doesn't really create a demon or devil on that +2, but it's -2 creates a 1/1 red devil creature token. With whenever this creature dies, you deal 1 damage to any target. So this will be familiar.
Devil token.
Exactly, yeah. So for many of you over the past couple of years that are familiar with our other effects and planeswalkers that make devil tokens, it's similar to that. 1/1 devil, when it dies, you deal 1 damage. Synergizes with that +1, where if you have a devil token, you gain 2 life. And -7 is target player draws 7 cards and you lose 7 life. What the hell, guys? It's 3 mana for a 3 tough thing planeswalker. This card sucks. Guess what? Casualty X, you get to then sacrifice a creature with whatever, converted mana cost, or whatever power, sorry. Casualty X, you then create a copy of this planeswalker that is not legendary and has starting loyalty X. So, if you sacrifice a 1 power creature when you cast this card, you create another copy of Ob Nixilis that's non-legendary that has 1 loyalty. If you sacrifice a 15 power creature when you cast this Ob Nixilis, you create a second copy of Ob Nixilis that is non-legendary that has 15 starting loyalty. Folks, I hope you understand how stupid this card is. If you have a mana dork on turn 1, you can then have 2 planeswalkers on turn 2. Holy! That is insane. That is the nuts. The fact that you can create 2 planeswalkers on turn 2, granted, one is going to have 3 thing, and then most mana dorks are either 0 or 1 power, so you obviously don't want to cast it for the 0 power ones. Cast it for the 1. You then have a 1 loyalty Ob Nixilis, but imagine this in a deck in Modern with Death Shadow. In Historic with Death Shadow. Imagine it with Tarmogoyf in Modern. Just as a Jun card. Just as a value engine. You just play this on 4, play this on 5. You have 2 planeswalkers going at it. And then if you play it with the Death Shadow, you might be able to instantly ultimate with it. Come on. Come on. Come on. This card is cool. Jack, what do you think? What do you think?
Specifically, where I think this goes is the red, black, and the Jun sacrifice decks in Pioneer. I think yes. So the card by itself without the casualty ability is like whatever. With casualty, okay, it's pretty good. Where I think this gets nutty is when the creature that you're sacrificing with casualty wants to be sacrificed when you have things like death triggers, or it can be recurred, or you have Mayhem Devil or Corvold on your field.
Yep.
When you have other like sacrifice synergies, this just adds to it that you can gain further advantage with. That's why I think this card is nutty.
In Pioneer, that's why I think it's busted in Pioneer and Historic decks, or sorry, formats with like established sacrifice decks. Yes. Like Jun Sacrifice is a tiered deck in both of those formats. In Modern, it's like a tier 2 strategy, really. But in Modern, you have like Death Shadow, Tarmogoyf. It's like you have giant creatures for cheap that you can sacrifice to this, which is why it's meant to be brought up there. But I think this makes waves in Pioneer. Definitely hit Historic as well.
Yeah, this card is, and this is the thing, is like almost every planeswalker at 3 mana finds a home somewhere.
Oh, 100%. It's so good. And like, it's 3 mana for 2 planeswalkers. Like, I don't...
Yes.
There's going to be times where you cast it for 3 for 1, but like, you shouldn't be doing that. You should be looking to cast this 3 for 2 planeswalkers. And like most of the time it's going to be worth the wait. It's going to be really good.
Yep.
It's going to be really good.
Yep. This is definitely a card to look out for.
Yeah. Ob Nixilis is going to be crazy. Who knows? Grixis Mill. Yeah. I had to throw that in there. Sorry.
No, it's not. It doesn't go in Grixis Mill because the only creatures you're sacrificing are crabs, and they have 0 power.
Wait a second. Wait, you're saying you do not believe in Jace's Phantasm? You're telling me?
No, I'm fine with Jason's Phantasm.
You're telling me
if you put Vantra's Gargoyle in your deck, you're a schmuck.
Okay.
Except for Russ. Russ is the only one allowed to do it.
But that's Ob Nixilis. Those are the artifacts. Let's round this off. What do you got for Planeswalkers? Or is it Lance?
Lance. Okay, so the rest of the Triumph cycle is the big one.
Gucci.
They're not called Triumphs though.
It's dumb.
And they don't even match. The only naming convention that matches is it's the first name, or it's the name of the legendary creature that's like the leader of the family.
Yeah.
It's like them owning something. So Naya is Jetmir's Garden, Esper Rafine's Tower, Bant Spara's Headquarters, Grixis Xander's Lounge, Jund Zeatora's Proving Ground. So I hate how they're named.
No, I agree. I agree, 100%.
I understand that Triome doesn't fit this theme. I understand that, but you have to make it in a way where it's like these are so hard to reprint, and I think we've had this conversation before.
Yeah, 100%.
They're really hard. They're really hard to reprint. But I am glad that I think the 3-color like tricycle lands, like the Triomes and everything, I think they were a mistake to make in. Like, as a concept, they were a mistake, like, how they played out. However, I'm one who prefers symmetrical land cycles, so I'd rather all 10 exist than 5 exist. I'd rather 0 exist, but if they are going to exist, I'd rather 10 than 5.
Yes. I think I largely agree with, with almost anything you're saying. Like, I think flavorfully, the cards are very nice. Like, I think they have their very unique identity. Like Zeatora's Proving Ground is like a boxing ring. Jetmir's a garden.
Excuse me. If you play this card, if you play Zeatora's Proving Ground and you don't call it the Junder Dome, I don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, so it's very flavorful that way. But in terms of like organization and finding these, like it's like a nightmare in terms of like naming. Organizing them is a nightmare as well. I think obviously they'll see play. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like Pioneer will play these. Historic Standard will definitely play these. Modern will definitely play these. In Modern they're not play sets, but like it's fine to be a prismatic ending. Like they will just be 1 or 2 ofs, and that's perfectly fine. They will rise in price over time. So if you want it, if you're iffy about picking them up, like if you have the funds for it, like you probably should pick up like 1 or 2. And that's probably like all you'll need.
Because what will happen is they're going to be high. A few weeks after the set drops and packs are being opened, they'll go down, and then over time, as they're seeing more play, as we're moving on to other sets, they'll go back up, because that's exactly what happened to all 5 of the Triumphs from Ikoria. They were like $10-15 on release. They dropped down to like $3 or $4, and they've climbed back to being between $10 and $20.
Exactly. Yeah, they're definitely just going to keep going.
They're good investments to make as long as you get them from decent prices. Mm-hmm. All right.
What do you got?
The other things I want to talk about was we have an allied colors only common dual lands for limited, and what they are is. A lot of the common dual lands for limited are just like tap for so the one I'm looking at is Botanical Plaza. It's just enters tapped, can tap for green or white. But these ones, instead of like gain a life or scry or whatever, it's 2 green white, tap and sacrifice Botanical Plaza, draw a card. Mm-hmm. So all of them say that they're all 2 and then the 2 colors that they are for the ally colors. These are great for limited. I would, I'm a big fan of playing, unless you have like this really sick 2-color deck. I always like trying to splash colors. This makes it easier. I generally will take dual lands a little bit higher than maybe some other people I'm drafting with. Mm-hmm. And this just gives you added value in the late game, when you already have like drawn a bunch of your basics and you're kind of flooding and whatever. So I really like these for that. They're not going to see play in anywhere. And I mean, I don't even think these see play in Pauper, because Pauper you have either the indestructible artifact bridges or you have the snow duels. So these won't see Pauper play. Yeah, these are just for limited, but they're really good. Usually
like hyper synergistic in Pauper, or they need to serve like in Tron, you'll play like the gain ones, but that's because it's anti-aggro. The life is actually massive.
Those also see some play. Yep. Or you play like the bounce lands.
Yeah.
See some play.
I think this one. I think like standard plays these, like standard control. Or mid-range will play like 2-3 copies of this.
Maybe.
Because I think at the end of I don't know like the draw cycle right now in standard if there are lands that do it. But like drawing a card in the late game is always necessary for standard control. So I think they will play it there.
The last thing is we have a common cycle of essentially Terramorphic Expanse or Evolving Wilds. But they're only in the shard colors. So you'll have a Jund one, an Esper one, etc. And then you gain a life after shuffling. They're whatever. They're fine if you're in those color combinations. Again, they're not going to see play unless... Actually, some Pauper decks do play Terramorphic and Evolving Wilds. Not all of them, like very minutely. But if you're in like those specific colors, you know, you would probably play these over Evolving Wilds.
So here's my tinfoil hat.
You gain a life.
Here's my tinfoil hat.
Okay.
I actually think these are some of the most revolutionary cards that Wizards has put out recently.
Really?
So, not these cards specifically, their design. I think that Wizards of the Coast has been trying to figure out a way to fix the biggest mistake they have ever made past the reserve list. And that is fetch lands. Fetch lands are probably the most busted cycle of Magic cards ever printed because of how they warp formats around them, right? And I think Wizards is trying to find a way to make fixed fetch lands or a different form of fetch lands and put them into other formats and create money cards. I think that they, like, this is me tinfoil hatting, by the way. Half of it is tinfoil hatting, half of it I genuinely believe. But I think Pioneer not having fetch lands is intentional. And I think this is a way where Wizards does not care, in the sense that the design team does care, but the money people don't care, where they want to use this as a template for, if this is successful, to use these cards as a template to create alternate fetches.
Interesting.
And I believe like you could template them in such a way where they are a fetch land that grabs a land of any type, so they don't have to be a basic, right? Like in the future, like I could see this being a thing. Obviously, you lose the ability to choose, right? So you can't activate, but it's an ETB, which is a different level of abuse. They then gain you, maybe they'll gain you more life, but then they bring in that land like tapped. Like you will not be able to bring them untapped, or maybe there's another way that they balance it where you can bring them in untapped, but like maybe they lose you 2 life. Like these ones are like you immediately forced to get the land, they lose you 2 life, but then you can fetch any land and you can bring those in untapped. I don't know. But I think this is sneakily the one card design that's going over everyone's head. And I think it's because they're trying to fix fetch lands. That's my tinfoil hat. What do you think? It's a big conspiracy.
I'm not going to.
Yeah.
I'm not going to comment. I'm not super big on conspiracies, so I don't know.
Fair.
It's like a believable one. I'm not saying it's like unreasonable or anything.
I think it's push card design. Because you could just print Terramorphic Expanse. You could just...
but this is more flavorful.
Yes. But I think, like, you didn't... There's other ways to do this, and I think this was intentional. Well, sure. I would, like...
But I think it's fine. Fine.
Like, these cards themselves, they're not busted. These common land cycles are perfectly fine. They're cool. They're flavorful. It's their design that I care about. I care about their design, not the cards themselves. But that's it. That's me on those lands.
Yeah. Well, that's all I have for the set.
That's it for the set. That's it for the set. One thing, and that's our general thoughts on it. Obviously, if you managed to listen through all of this, God bless you. We still have some other things that I want to bring up real quick.
Oh, no.
You wanted to talk about, like, treasures being everywhere.
Yes.
And I actually, like, I think this is, like, an interesting talking point to bring up real quickly here. What is your take on everything... Truly, like, what is your take on everything drawing cards to be relevant? Like, they will overcost cards, but then put draw card on it to make it relevant. They will overcost cards and then oh, this makes a treasure to make it relevant.
I want both to exist.
On the same card on everything,
No,
or like
no,
what do
no,
you mean?
no. So like I want there to be version. I mean, in relative design space, like I would rather have like I want both like a lean, efficient version of a card, and then maybe something that is a little less efficient in terms of mana or whatever, but gives you added effects. It feels like they're leaning more towards the latter, and even worse, there are cards that are like really efficient and draw you cards or print treasures or whatever, and that's a problem.
So my thing is that like a lot of the things that we're seeing that like create treasures or draw cards, and this might just be friggin' boomer pandering, but like, why don't black and white cards get this? Why
Right,
are
so what? No, why is it specifically green? Like, why does green have treasures? That's what doesn't make sense to me. Like,
I don't?
Why
Yeah,
does, like a bunch of green stuff in this set, green creates treasures. Why does old Gnawbone exist for you EDH people?
yeah.
Like treasure feels like it should be, like Grixis, or like Mardu or something. Like it should just it doesn't feel like a green thing. Because their whole thing is, we already have a bunch of excess mana, and we don't generally like artifacts.
I think like treasures.
Here's a 6 mana artifact in green that turns all of your ramped lands into more mana. Like, what is going on?
Like I honestly believe like treasures should be a white mechanic. And I believe that from the aspect of the white color pie being about taxes. Right? Taxes and payment.
Sure.
Like, I think there's ways to format these cards that affect your opponent to give you treasures. Like, you just need to reformat it.
I think I don't mind treasures being in Grixis, like specifically with like Ixalan. All the pirates that are printed are in Grixis. Pirates and treasures are very thematic on. I think they should be less in blue. I think they should be more of like a red-black, and that's why I said like Grixis/Mardu. Like, I think treasure should primarily be like Mardu colors and then like splash into blue.
Like blue should not be making treasures. That's egregious. That's awful. That's ramp. That is absolutely egregious. Like, yeah, I think
like I said, I think it can splash. Like I can think one like a thing here and there that's in blue. I think more of like a card that's like black X or red or like blue black or red black, like a gold card or whatever. Like splashes of blue with treasures I think is fine, but I think it should primarily be like Mardu colors.
Okay.
Making treasures.
Yeah. And I think and like but
green should be nowhere near anything. Like the closest thing is like the card that I'm excited for my gen deck, the 3/3 for 3 in green that makes a treasure. It has like vigilance
when it ETBs, right.
Makes a treasure, like it's called Jewel Thief, whatever. I'm okay with like that being in like green or whatever. Like I would prefer it in a different color, but like if you're gonna put treasures in green, that kind of thing is like whatever. But just
like also like
these high end green like.
But it's also like the name of it too, right? Like you're calling it like Jewel Thief.
Yeah.
Like, why isn't that in like red? Why isn't that like a black? It's like a thief. You know what I mean? Like, like I understand that this is like a mobster style thing, and you're like mixing, but that's the thing though, right? Like people are gonna say, oh, you're
because I'm pretty sure it's like a Jund. It's a Jund or a Naya card. And Naya has to do with tokens. Jund is doing a lot of stuff with tokens and treasures.
But see, that's the thing though, right? Like everyone's okay with like. This is my problem with like recent Magic design. Everyone's okay with color pie break unless it's like black or white. I mean, well, why can black hit enchantments? Like green does everything. You're like mad about the wrong thing.
No,
you're mad about the wrong thing right now.
I have literally had a long conversation with my roommate. So my roommate, I don't know if I've talked about him on the podcast. He's an L1. He works at our LGS. He does like the event coordination and everything. He and I have long talks some nights about Magic, whether it be stuff at the store or design or decks or whatever. He's also on the team that like we're both sponsored. And we were talking about this exact topic, and it's exactly like he and I came to the same conclusion like that I did. Is like, it should be Mardu, maybe it splashes into blue once in a while, but it should never be in green. Especially not in some of the egregious ways like the Artifact or Old Gnawbone or any of that. It feels super off theme. And we also talked about like color strength in recent design. So like before Throne of Eldraine and Theros and like some of that, like blue-green was really weak as a color combination.
Mm-hmm.
And then they just gave us like 3 broken like blue-green cards in a row, essentially.
Yes,
warp things. And then it's like, okay, so now white-black, I think, is like the worst 2-color pair. Like, Rakdos has gotten a bunch of stuff recently. Mm-hmm. Red-green is getting stronger. Blue-white's like gotten a lot stronger with the new white cards. Like, a bunch of these color pairs are getting stuff, and I feel like white-black, and to some extent, I think white-red and white-green, like what basically every white pair that isn't white-blue, and then some of the black pairs are like really needing some help. Because in terms of monocolored, like white, like I personally think that black is the worst color in Magic right now.
Yes.
Outside of like maybe like Vintage or something or whatever. Like, and I think white was the worst for a number of years, but they've been giving white a lot of good cards. They've gotten Ephemerate, Prismatic Ending, Solitude, March of Otherworldly Light, a lot of good removal stuff, some blink stuff. They have really good Planeswalkers, etc. I think black just really needs some help right now.
I mean, black, I'm going to be honest, like, black's okay. The only reason black is a good color in Vintage is because of the restricted cards, like Yawgmoth's Will, Demonic Tutor, Vamp Tutor.
Rituals,
that's it, stuff, right? And like, like Opposition Agent,
Doomsday,
okay, whatever, right?
Like very niche things, like older cards, but like not many new cards. What's like the best black card we've got in recent years besides Fatal Push? Like mono black cards. Like, I don't know, like, Russ is probably out there saying, like, Cabal Coffers and Invoke Despair, and it's like, okay, back to bed, old man.
Yeah, like, it's just, like, it's not...
Like, there hasn't...
Like, there isn't a reason to play a black-dominant deck. Like, you need... Okay, so, like...
Outside of sacrificing.
I'm gonna point out that, like, okay, so even with the Vintage example, like, black is played... the black combo cards are played with blue and white cards. And it's a blue-white dominant deck playing like 2 black cards. That's it. And then it's either that or it's a graveyard deck where like it's the black card is Hogak.
Sorry. The best black card printed recently is Archon of Cruelty. Cool. So it's literally a.
I mean, yeah, that's a pretty good. That's a pretty good example, actually. It's not a bad one.
Like that's probably the best black card printed recently.
Yeah. That's a pretty good example.
And it's not Standard or Pioneer. Or any of that. It's only Modern Plus, and doesn't seem. I mean, maybe it's in Legacy Reanimator. I don't know because I don't play Legacy.
In Legacy, it'll show up in Reanimator, and it's actually a really funny sneak and show card because you can sneak it in, and then you get the ETB and the attack trigger.
I imagine that's pretty good in like a sneak and show mirror.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's like a one of or something. Like it'll show up in those 2 gets. So it's like Reanimator and it's Sneak and Show.
But in Modern, like you have like Esper Reanimator. You have creativity decks that will bring it out, but it's not like a card that you generally hard cast. No. So like, but black doesn't get honestly that much. Oh, and sorry, like Deadly Disputes, obviously a really good black card recently. Like they have little things here and there, but
that's like but see, that's like different though. Like even Deadly Dispute is like that's like okay, I don't know, that's like Pauper too, because it's like that's a black
it's Pauper, it's Pioneer, it sees a little bit of modern play, probably sees standard play, like it's like a pretty good card. Like there's a reason it's like a $3-4 common.
Yeah, but it's like hyper synergistic with like one thing.
Yes.
Like you have to be doing like one thing. Yeah. Right? It's just like Yawgmoth's Will. It's just like Vamp Tutor. Like you're doing one thing when you're playing those cards.
Right. They don't print generically powerful black cards.
Like Prismatic Ending. like Uro.
Like the last one that comes to mind that's generically powerful is Fatal Push.
Yeah, and that was like years ago. Like Fatal Push truly defined a format. Like Fatal Push
2016, 2017.
Like Fatal Push changed Magic, but that's it. Like it was just Fatal Push. Like Thoughtseize, Inquisition of Kozilek. Like I guess Inquisition of Kozilek could be considered like a quote unquote recent if you're thinking of Fatal Push era, because Inquisition of Kozilek was also like something that changed Magic.
Yeah,
but that was back then.
So on the flip side, so like I think white only needs like a little bit more help, and not in the removal. Like they can stop printing good white removal. You got it. You're good. Print some other stuff in white. I think black needs a lot of help. And the opposite. I think they need to tone down green a lot. They've like, and I think they need to tone down red. I think those two colors have gotten way too much recently in the past couple of years.
See,
and I honestly think blue is in an okay spot right now. I think they can just keep doing what they're doing for blue.
So I think so I agree with green. Green needs to be toned down, and they need to stop innovating with the green. Stop. Like stop doing new things. Stop that. Like things don't need to be the lands create treasures now. Stop doing that. Okay? Just if you're gonna do something, do it to the existing ability. Stop giving green new things. Secondly, red, I'm like half with you on. I think the problem with red is that like they've done
too many really efficient one drop creatures. Like Ragavan and Darcy are just disgusting. Unholy Heat, like they get really efficient cheap stuff.
Exactly. There you go.
They have some decent like higher end.
So red is an example. I think in my honest opinion, red is an example of like perfect design in the sense that you have accentuated all of its points the way you want to in a color pie. Like you have created efficiency, low to the ground, and now at this point you've done that to the point where you have to exploit it with Ragavan, right? And then you've even perfected its draw mechanic, impulsive draw. Like they've truly perfected that. Like I think red is an example of design perfected in color. Green is an example of green and blue are an example of design extreme, whereas good blue cards are literally banned everywhere. Blue is not a good color in Magic because we've had to ban everything that's good, right? And then green is still allowed to do whatever the hell it wants. Green is the rich kid in your class that gets everything he wants, and when you try and reprimand him, it doesn't matter because his parents own the school. Okay? Like it doesn't matter what you do to the green kid.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. And this green kid like does something absolutely heinous, but because he's rich and green, he gets 3 months of
exactly.
Anyways,
and then white is just sitting there like, oh, I'll just wait for my turn. Like, oh, I can't wait till they pick me.
Yes.
Like,
all right. So if we're gonna continue with this example, so red is like the upper middle class kid that like his dad just got a promotion, so they're seeing like a little bit of money. They're like pseudo rich, you know what I mean? So he's like starting to get an ego to like front that he's like rich when he's like not really, but like he's got some stuff. You know
yo, red is okay. Wait. Red is the kid whose parents like got in on the stock market and now they're being super safe about it. Like they're like, oh, we have Ragavan, and like, we'll just hang out. Like they made their big play on the stock market.
Yeah.
And now, they got Alexis and everything.
Yeah. Blue is the like, oh, their parents like they come from like older money, but it wasn't like a ton of money. So they're just chilling. Like they're middle class, they're comfortable, nothing overly egregious, nothing like completely dog shit awful. They're just chilling. They're living in a normal, comfortable.
Blue is generational wealth, and it's like right now blue is the kid that like isn't smart or like doesn't have any talent. They're just gonna like work. They're just gonna work for their dad's company.
Yeah.
Like they're like, oh yeah, I still draw cards, but like I'm not brainstorm.
Yeah. He's just like, he's like a B- B student. Like, he's like okay. you know.
No. Yo. The blue kids are like literally D students, but like they draw cards, so it's fine. Yo, they literally draw cards, but it's fine.
I guess they'd be C students or whatever. Okay. And then there's like, now I'm talking about colors of magic here, people. So there's so the black kid.
Yeah.
Is,
not okay. Come on, folks. The kid that plays black and magic. Come on, we're not racist, okay? Can we just please say that?
I wanted to just preface this in case I got like quoted out of context.
It's almost gonna quote you out of context, man. The internet's friggin' stupid.
So the kid who plays black is like long time ago. They like his ancestors were like kings and wealthy and whatnot, and then they're just like lost it all somewhere along the line, and now they're like barely making ends meet.
They literally, they literally had their wealth stolen.
They're like just below the poverty line. Like their insurance didn't work. Like nothing. They're just like, their mom packed them like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and like,
it's
I don't know, a crushed soda. Like,
It's like what they do works. People believe in them, and like they're tried and true, but like they're not innovative. Like there's always a murder reprint. Yeah. There's always like the draft black for removal.
And then a little bit ago their mom like got a lottery ticket and won like $500, and so she bought her kid who plays black like this new pair of sneakers, and he's like so happy about it, and then everyone else around him is like complaining like, why do you get to do that? This is a reference to sacrificing enchantments. They're like why do you have those? Like you shouldn't have those. You know what? On this example, you know what black beating enchantments is? Everyone mad about how natives getting their lands back. That's what this is. This is everyone who's mad. Yo, all of you friggin' dinguses that are upset about native people getting their lands back. I hope all of you are enchantments. All of you are garbage human beings, and I hope you are the enchantments that we're targeting. This is black getting sacrificing enchantments is white people getting mad when black people want reparations.
Yeah, exactly. It's just give people what's literally their God-given right. Like just stop it. Okay, y'all mad about the wrong thing. It's literally y'all mad about black getting it as the beginning, as we were just talking with this conversation. Y'all are mad about black killing enchantments, but green friggin' killing or making treasures and like having direct damage.
But they're the rich kids, so it's fine. And then white is like in a similar situation as black, where they're like also like borderline poverty line, like just making ends meet. But recently their dad like got a lucky break, or their mom got a lucky break, got a promotion at work, and now they're like actually like have a little bit of money in their bank account.
Yeah, like they're like kind of middle or upper middle class right now.
No, not upper middle. No. They're just like, oh, we have like a couple of weeks of backup. Like we're not just living paycheck to paycheck. We have like, oh, if anything ever happens, we'll have like a little bit to lean back on.
They're doing renovations on their house, but they're not going on vacation.
Like, yeah, and not even like major renovations. They're like repainting, or they're getting a new stove. Like they're
exactly. The electric stove. They're getting the Bluetooth stove. Exactly. That's why.
Yeah,
they're getting the Bluetooth stove.
Oh my god, this is a wild metaphor that we've been getting on.
This is the best metaphor.
This is absolutely wild.
But that is Jack and Shaft talking about racism and magic.
Yeah, just from a Bengalese and white guy.
Yeah, but I think like I you know what, that's enough of a conversation. There, I enjoy that.
Is it Bengalese or is it Bangladeshian? Like
Bengali. But yeah, I think we'll start wrapping things up from there. I think we've drawn the podcast off long enough here.
Yeah. I'll get canceled. You'll probably be fine.
No, they'll cancel me too. Like
Oh.
It's fine. No one's. I'm like light skin enough being brown that like I'll still get canceled. No. Like I'll be like, oh yeah, you hate dark skin people. I don't know, man. Like brown people got their own thing too. It's dumb, but we. So let's do this. We always do like a wrap up like post thing, but let's do this quick. What are some things you're looking forward to until we record the next episode of the podcast? What's going on with life?
Whenever that might be.
Yeah.
So pre-release this weekend. Super stoked. Pre-release, as many people know, is going to be like centered around the shards. So you get a kit that's themed towards them. I'm going to be playing probably Jund, maybe Naya. Even though I'm generally the anti-Jund guy, but just like the strength of the cards and how I'm looking at them, like. I think red green is really good. And like, come on. Why wouldn't my first pre-release kit be the chance to have cards with Blitz in its name? Come on.
Oh yeah. And Jax's and Blitz.
Yes, Jax's Blitz, yes. Yeah. So we're gonna be doing that. I have a modern 1K at my store that's gonna be going on during pre-releases. They have like deals and whatnot. So like. The way they have it timed is like if you're like 02 or whatever and you decide to drop, you can like go into a pre-release and all this kind of stuff. So we're gonna be doing like 2, 3, maybe 4 pre-releases depending on how things go this weekend. I'm super stoked, even though I would prefer it be draft. Otherwise, just I even have a Pauper 1K that's a couple hours away the following weekend, which like Pauper competitive events is just like wild to me to exist. In my area, so I'm gonna try to go to that. Basically, while I'm in kind of this lull of not working as much, I'm mostly focusing on school and then just living life. It's gonna be playing the Magic that I want to play. Try to find what makes me happy in the world. But I've been enjoying life being really close to friends and Magic. So that's most of what I got going on. How about you, Chef?
Yeah, so I mean, I just finishing off Ramadan, probably just keeping it casual on Magic until then. Gonna try and get back in it now that I'm like moving into this new virtual job. I'm looking at returning to streaming in a big way. I haven't streamed in the past month. Just been because work's been crazy, and it's part of the reason why I left. So I was just like, I needed a change. And ended up working out, so streaming's gonna come back. I just want to give a quick aside to all the love that the YouTube channel's been getting. I literally have like
you've been popping off with those shorts.
Yeah, the shorts have been great, so people tend to like them. I guess I don't know. People like the thing, so I'm definitely gonna continue them. I have like I have a short lined up for tomorrow and Saturday that are skits. People tend to love them, so I don't know. Yeah, just literally going from 1,000 to 2,000 subs in the last little bit has been great. Other than that, in terms of gaming, like we have I've been holding off finishing Elden Ring for a bit. I've been running around in the world doing some nonsense. But with Overwatch 2 coming out soon, I think that's me and my buddies will really be into that. So that, and then I think I got like Code Vein, which is like an anime Souls-like game on Steam. So once I get my fix of Overwatch 2, finish Sekiro, I'll probably play some Code Vein. So that should be pretty cool. But other than that, I mean, steps closer to getting married. Birthday's coming up soon.
Hell yeah,
bro! I'm just like hungry as hell, man. That's it. That's it. That's
I
me.
know. May first week of May cannot come sooner. Are you gonna like binge like right after Ramadan?
Well, I think the thing is, like, I mean, we do binge enough like on a nightly basis, but like I think it's one of those things where it's like going out with the wife, like it's been like kind of awkward in terms of like when she has work, when I have work, and like timing when we usually go out. Right. And then now it's like our things aren't really open that late anymore, thanks to like the what's been going on in the world. So it's like it's tough to find everything that we want to eat. So we'll probably like mess around with some of that.
Does she also observe Ramadan?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. So she's Hindu, I'm Muslim. Gotcha. For all of you that are in the know about how controversial that union is, if you actually oppose it, I don't ever want to know you as a person. If you love it, then I'm here for you. I'm here for you.
I mean, I'm of the it doesn't matter. People love each other. That's
what Thank you. But yeah, there's
as long as you're not shitty people, that's what I care about.
Yeah. But yeah, I think we'll end it off there.
Yeah.
I think we hit the 3 hour mark. I'm not gonna lie, at some point halfway, I actually stopped the recording and started recording again just in case. Because we hit like an hour and a half, and we've literally hit an hour and a half again. So this is a good time to end it. Yeah. So this is a good time to end it.
Well, I mean, I think that's only fair. Our devoted listeners have been waiting a month and a half for the next episode. We apologize. We're doing other life stuff.
Life is crazy.
It'll come when it comes.
Yeah.
But yeah, appreciate if you've gotten this far. Yeah.
All right, we'll end it off there. Thanks everyone for hanging out. You know where to find us on our socials.
Yep.
See us in these leagues. See us in these pre-releases. Hope y'all enjoy New Capenna. And please give us your brews so that we can play them, exploit them, and say that they were our brews. Don't post them publicly. We will take advantage of the work that you give to us and say it's our intellectual property. Have a good time, everyone. Hope you'll join us for the next episode. And later.
Catch you next time.